Like the video. Thumb up the video. Like the video. Thumb up the video. Like the video. Thumb up the video.
Yeah.
Sir, back up, please. Sir, you got to back up. Come on, be a human being. Back up, please. Come on. Can I be any more nicer? Can I be any more polite?
Come on,
back
man.
up.
No such thing as a white man being nice, man.
All right, you said that, right?
Yeah. Show me where y'all nice at.
I don't need to show
Come on,
you.
man.
I'm just asking to back up.
I'm back.
When you're doubting that bullshit that you've been told, and you need that info. Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. Tune in to consciousness and watch the lies fold. Then you can let the truth flow. On Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. When you feel that melanin about to explode, like you feel the wind blow. It's Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV. I know you got the truth, but you can get more, so you continue to grow. Sonetta TV, Sonetta TV.
I'm a rock squad up, magi archers in the building, please believe. Oh shit. If you ain't Sonetta, no time for that interview, dog. I put my shit out for niggas, I don't send it to blogs. Clan kill off the Buddha, not being discreet. One puff, this big pops and projectiles. Between the sheets. Sun run, cold game, bring your cleats. The best flow blow, Eskimo, penguin feet. Don't need no blunt to burn. You run the turf with 10 niggas on the block. That's a punt return. Ayo, Dolomite prototype soldier with the solar light. Saber and he hold it like he hold a mic. Golden ice spenders, sipping on that overpriced poltergeist spirits. Ripping at the open mic, spoke the nice lyrics like mama moved mean overnight. Golden motorbike holding on some Tron shit. That nice neon kit is on it. The king's libation with exotic liqueur. The queen's vibration like a Sada Shakur. A lot of decor, imported foreign threads, they ain't got it to store. Nubian Kush and black top pottery jaws. 39% THC, the quality pure. Old rappers try to spit, ain't hot as before. It's like I'm 5 flights above, bust the shots at the floor. Cats switch up their style when they ain't got it no more. Cause they gotta keep their product in stores to feed their kids. See what that weed did? You yes man agreeing on everything we said. I smell the mic like it's the love of my life. Don't get sliced and beat with the butt of the knife. Brother polite, I say I'm animalistic, cause I still be in the hood with my hand on my pistol. The Hebrews think I'm cannibalistic, E5 divination, channel the mystic, audio visionary. Let's play poetical Pictionary. Picture me burning down your missionary. Yeah, then I send you religion. That red dot on your head, that's Hindu tradition. Invisible, independent, intrinsic shit. I'll bring it all to an end with indivisible games. Charles Xavier, getting your brain. Mental anguish or manifesting physical pain. Wizard remains to dance in the chemical rain. Breathe slow, then I'm up out of this physical plane. Got military machinery that exercise, weaponized greenery. Shine at a jeopardize the scenery, son. Bruh, the beam 10 times your distance. Inclines convention. Stop rising with no trend line resistance. The parabolic breakout. I'm F-16 with the aeronautic fake out. God killer, the God killer, the God killer, the God killer. It's the God killer, the God killer. That's who it is. The God killer, the God killer. It's the God killer, the God killer, the God killer, the God killer. It's the God killer, the God killer, the God killer, the God killer.
Check, check. A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. It's Bobby banging this bitch. What's good, family? Man, y'all know what it is, man. Happy Father's Day to all the dads, man. Happy Father's Day, right? Step up and be a father in your children's life. That's important, man, for the dads to step up, man, because they need the fathers. Just simple as that. What's good, family, man? We sitting back, man. And for me, God damn it, every day is Father's Day, man. Man, shout out to Black News 102, man. We simulcasting on the community of skeptics, man. The real black atheists. Y'all know what it is, man. Make sure y'all go over there, man. If you watching this stream right here, man, go over there, man, and go ahead and subscribe, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Do that for your peoples, man. But yeah, we up in the building, man, and we doing it. Always gonna have a good show, right? It's gonna always be packed with real information. I done already put the sources in there, so y'all can click the sources and do it like we do it. Took the time to make sure y'all did that today because I'm tired of this conversation. It's always that, man. Y'all see the title, man. Black Egypt and the General History of Africa. No more skin color games. I'm going to say this again. Black Egypt and the General History of Africa. No more skin color games. So, yeah, I was sitting back and I was kind of watching a little bit of the stream that I saw Hotep did. And I felt like he was playing skin color games. So he's worthy of a response. Some people I'm just not responding to. That's like Smash Rockwell's, man. He's definitely worthy of a response. Simple as that. Some people I'm not even going to waste my time with. Some cats, man, they earned, they measure, and they definitely worthy of a response. So, you know, y'all done heard me and Smash work it out on the air as far as the whole Egyptian thing. And he makes clear statements that I feel like I understand what he's saying. And you say, well, ain't he playing skin color games? Well, he was simply bringing out the people that he felt like was black and skin color. We can rock with that. Saul, on the other hand, he's playing skin color games. And is they black? They was black. They wasn't black. They is black. They was black. They not. They is. Which one is it? Is he making a racial statement? What is he doing? Is he going back to the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s? What is he doing? I did forget to bring up the daggone god dang. Man, yo. No, man, I did. Let me see. Can I get that? Okay, we got that. We got that. We got okay, we got the Brooklyn Museum exhibit. I want to pull that up because that's like the culminating. And I need to find, let's see. Let me see. Just I want to do this too. Oh man. A lot of sources tonight, man. I want to make sure I don't do readingship. I gotta ease it in. Yeah, you cannot do readingship. It's horrible. Yeah, a whole lot of words and it's just horrible. Just can't do it. You can't do it. Let me see if I can find that. Diops. Let's see. I spell that right? Nope. Oh, okay. What? African organization? Scallion, African organization. Yeah, I found it. Michael Rockwell. The gallery. Today's Scholar University recognizes Africa as a source of common ancestry, but 1970. Yeah, all right. Okay, I think that's it. I want to get you the actual about the mission. Nah. Damn. Exhibit overview. So there's an exhibit. It's called African Origin, the African Origin of Civilization. December 14th, 2021 is ongoing. It says today scholars university recognize Africa as the source of the common ancestry. So that's for my brothers and sisters that's claiming Native American and claiming the origin in Americas. Okay. It say, but in 1974, the Senegalese scholar and humanist Cheikh Diop shot and challenged historians with his groundbreaking book, The African Origin Civilization Myth and Reality. In that now classic text, he asserts that ancient Egypt ancient Egypt, whose civilization was the source for the subsequent development of cultural traditions in the rest of our African continent. I don't agree with that statement. And the Western world belongs to Africa. It says, in recognition of Diop's visionary that he was, called to acknowledge Africa's fundamental role in the major cultural developments. The Metropolitan Museum of Art's exhibition, The African Origin of Civilization, opened December 14th, will present for the first time in the museum's history ionic work from its collection from West Central Africa alongside art from ancient Egypt. Additionally, important creations by master sculptors from sub-Saharan Africa will be highlighted in the permanent collection galleries across the museum. Yeah. Why is this important? And we're going to read why this is important. All right? We're going to definitely read why this is important. And it's going to bring us to our conversation on why people are just wow. Right? And I hate to do it, but I got to do it. I got to do it. And I'm going to take my time with this. And, they can talk that talk, say what they want to say. But at a certain point, it's getting out of control. And people are being very, very unscientific. And in their approach to be unscientific, they try to talk crazy about the way I do what I do. And it's wild for me. All right. So let me I would just want to show you this real quick. Let me share my screen. All right. And so for me, how I got this thing. Man, shout out to the people in the chat. Let me shout them out because without y'all, man, it wouldn't be no fun, man. And hit that Cash App. Yeah, it's Father's Day, man. Show some love, right? Show some love that we working though. All right. Shout out to Tamika. I see you. I see you, Mr. Metro. What's up? Sadiq, I see you. Interesting conversation. Late Show 42, man. Go ahead, make sure you subscribe to that, man. AKA 2 Mosey. Yeah, you're going to say something wow. We did not start out with different skin color. He know what he's talking about. He was dead 300,000 years ago or so and know what skin color people was. Shout out to you. You have far exceeded scientific measure in your statement there. Smash Rock Wells, what's good? Magi Archers up. What's this? What's up, guy? I see you, Biz the guy. What's up, Anonymous Preem? What's going on, Dr. LaRoche, MD? What's good, man? What it do? So we're gonna have a good one, and we're not gonna run past no stop signs. What I learned is that in certain communities of interest, and I kind of heard that we run past stop signs because, and shout out to all the fathers in the building, man. Smash, happy Father's Day live, bro. I know you're a good dad. You're dedicated to your babies, yo. In real time, I seen it. Shout out to Smash Rock Wells. That's one dude I meant to send a text to. I didn't. All the Mossy, man. Happy fathers, yo. They good fathers, man. Kofi, all Kofi Pasai Research Team. They good fathers and dads, man. All right. Shout out to all the pseudo killers, man. They good dads, man. We ain't even playing. I ain't even hanging around no deadbeat dad, because a deadbeat dad is a different type of dad. He's a different type of person. How you worry about saving the community or saving the world, you know what I'm saying, but can't save your damn kids, or can't pay child support when you're supposed to, or can't get them what they need or spend some time with them, but you got enough time to be on YouTube. I find that to be complete foolery. So I don't hang around dudes like that. Yeah, shit rolled downhill. So yeah, big up to Sean, man. I know he's a real dad in real time, good dad. So he sent me something. Influence of misinformation. This is Malgan misinformation. Influence and misinformation. And they kind of said something like, people promote the wrong information because it bolsters their stance. Why would people do that? See, there's some clear stop signs out here, right? And people always try to tear down the stop signs with some foolery. Yo, get the book, man. Get the book. Get the book, The Chronology of Human Evolution. Come on, man. Stop playing. Get the rock. Go get that. Sturdy. It's going to be there for a while. Why would people continue to promote bad information on purpose? See, what's the stop sign? This is the stop sign everybody want to play. I hear people saying, well, you scared to say they black now. Or the Negro. Because that's all black. That's all Negro mean was black. Do I got to look that up? I hope not. The stop sign is clear. Now, there wasn't a stop sign, okay, before Charles Darwin put the goddamn brakes on everybody. For a while, human beings been trying to figure this out, the scientists was trying to figure out the natural causes. The mythologist was already clearly set in their stance. And it's hard to find a subject that's this polarizing, or it's hard to find a subject where we make the mistake in thinking. I'm gonna give you an example that humans just dove out the womb with clothes and inventions and all that. We think that's how it is because that's where we at right now, right? But there was a time when humans had no damn idea where it came from. That's why they made up folklore and mythology. So people were steadfast to their regional stories or doctrines that were spread by intercontinental ships and printing presses, right? That would be your Europeans. They spread the biblical text, right? Because they had the printing press, Gutenberg, 1440. They had the printing press, right? So now they could mass produce it. They had the intercontinental ships, right? They had the slave trade business booming, okay? and they could ship this out with the ships, and the text could go everywhere, and they could influence indigenous cultures, right? That all of a sudden they didn't come from their creation story, they came from the biblical creation story, and for some wild reason, it ain't a wild reason, because your mind is taught to believe based off of evolution. And evolution informs and instructs you, right, through mutations that it's best for you to believe, because those who believe more genes got selected to be carried on in the next generation, because those who believe more seem to have lived longer, because we was definitely behind the 8 ball when we popped up. We didn't just pop up, but as we evolved and transitioned and mutated, right, we wasn't the dominant nothing. We had to become that. So hiding, ducking, running was definitely our story. Jumpy about everything, believing everything. Interesting, right? So the points I want to make sure is clear here, right, is that there's some rules, some stand fast rules that most people are breaking. And the point is, why are some people breaking it? So we know Asar to be scientific literate, then why he break the rules? You can't break the rules. You can't break the rules. So for the record, I was on the show, on Brother Reggie's show, and they get the petition together, right? And you want to send it to a university, which I think just putting together a petition about something you feel about is dope, right? Something you feel strong about. I think we should do that. But the university, Pennsylvania, that's like they got an evolutionary biology department. Penn, they got the theory that Nina Dabrowski put together, the skin color. So that be the wrong spot to bring up race. So in that work, you should not put race in it, because that's a clear stop sign. So I'm here to put the brakes on all that. You can say how you want to say it, make it the way you want to make it. Oh, he don't want to say black, so you must just be black in skin color. You don't mean black and like there's a whole Egyptian race. You don't mean that. You just saying that you're fighting for. Are you fighting for what Diop's fought for? See, I know what Diop's fought for. Do y'all know? Because I'm gonna bring up clear statements where Diop's talked about that the whole of Egypt was Negroes. Whole thing, except for in pre-dynastic times when white Indo-Europeans migrated in. We're gonna talk about that. So even Diop's in his attempt couldn't get out the fact that there was some mixing in there. Because he said it. Most of y'all fake like y'all read the books. You don't really read them. You read the parts that fit what you want to fit, but you're not reading the whole works, right? So here's my point here. Any literature going to college and university have to at least carry the standard, right? Diop's push the standards. So any petition you got around her house, it should be based off of the fact that he's denying the Africanness of the Egyptians, and there shouldn't be nothing else. See, this is clear. See, a petition like that, I'll be willing to sign. But a petition that's promoting race is whack, because it's a clear stop sign. So 24 minutes already, I ain't even got started. I got to knock it off. Okay, let's establish the stop sign with clear and concise information, right? And so we never want to do the opposite of what they was doing. We never, ever want to do what they did. And what was it that they did? They practiced what? Scientific racism. Hey, the links is all in there. That's what they did. Scientific racism, sometimes termed biological racism, right? So remember, when we talk about the Nile Valley, we talk about biological organisms. The term biological racism is the pseudoscientific belief that empirical evidence exists to support or justify racism or racial discrimination or racial inferiority or racial superiority. Before the mid-20th century, scientific racism received credence throughout the scientific community, but is no longer considered scientific, yet it's pseudoscience now. So anybody promoting race, right, you're really going back to scientific racism. And I'm going to show you that. I ain't really heard nobody really talk about what went down in 1974. We kind of touched around the thing. All right. It said the division of mankind into biological distinct groups and attributions of specific traits, both physical and mental, to them by constructing and applying corresponding extraordinary models, explanatory models. Man, that is racial theories. It's sometimes called racialism, race, realism, or race science. Boop. Yeah, when you start playing with the DNA markers, E1B1A, A1B1E is a whole. Yeah, you actually playing, that's the new race science. It's a by its proponents. It's a modern scientific consensus rejects this view. That's the stop sign. See, if we don't, we're supposed to do. See, you ain't gonna never be able to blame me, right? You're gonna have to come up with an excuse and say, yeah, but if and you had to do that, but you're not gonna be able to. We're gonna play this right in the sweet spot. Modern scientific consensus rejects this view as being what? Irreconcilable with the modern genetic research. Y'all know when they mapped out the human genome. All right, I should have put that in there. All right, because the human genome has been mapped out. It was 2003. Okay, scientific racism misapplies, misconstrues, or distorts anthropology, physical anthropology, anthropometry, cranometry, evolutionary biology, and other disciplines or pseudo disciplines in proposing anthropological topologies supporting the classification of human populations into a physical, discrete human races. There you go. That whole thing, World War II. Let's see. Some of which might be asserted to be superior or inferior to others. Scientific racism was common during the period of the 1600s. Y'all know what that is, right? To the end of World War II. Remember I said, they damn near fought a war of it. Because Adolf Hitler and the boys was definitely pushing that. Exterminating the black people, Jewish people, and other people. They was pushing hard. And was particularly prominent in Europe and American academia writing from the mid-19th century through the early 20th century. So the problem is that people we talk about the scientific racism this and the scientific racism that when it's convenient to what they doing. But they won't tell you it was science that overthrew that. And they won't explain it that way. They'll use it so they can continue to talk about the Black Egyptians. What do you mean, the Black Egyptians? Because last time I checked, Black was Negro, and they was talking about a race, a racial category. So say I'm not talking about the racial category. I'm just saying the skin color. So, okay, so we just talking about the skin color, right? Then don't play the game. But they play the game at the mid-level. I ain't gonna say the highest level because there's a stop sign. What's the stop sign? Scientific racism. What overthrew scientific racism? Let's move it. Let's keep it moving. First of all, as in all things we need to do, we need to figure out what a daggone theory is. Scientific theory is an explanation of an aspect of the natural world or universe. So what aspect of the natural world, right, are we trying to explain? Why human beings have diverse skin color. They didn't have a theory put together for that during Charles Darwin's time, and they didn't have a theory for that put together during the 1974 Cairo Symposium. They didn't have that. This theory was put together probably in 1998 with Nina Jablonski. Came up with the theory of why human beings, have diverse skin color. Simple as that. Okay, that has been what? Repeatedly tested, okay, and corroborated in accordance with the scientific method using accepted protocols and observations and measurements and evaluation of results. Okay, and goes on to say established scientific theories have withstood the rigors, the scrutiny, and embodied scientific knowledge. So y'all not gonna be able to overturn that in a YouTube video with some statues and some wall paintings of some Egyptians, right, with browner or darker skin. So what? What does that mean? It means they was fit for their environment, is what it meant. If you talk about the indigenous population, and I guess that's exactly what we're talking about, means no more than that. So anybody making it more than that is practicing pseudoscientific theories that ain't even real theories, right? And it's hogwash. Why? Because that's another stop sign. Because there's a theory you're trying to overthrow. All right. The next stop sign. Right. Now, why do I mention him? Y'all get tired of that. Why did I mention Charles Darwin? Because he's the one that came up with the theory of human evolution. Charles Darwin, look, was English naturalist, geologist, biologist, widely known for his contribution to the evolutionary biology. There you go. Evolutionary biology. This conversation, when talking about human beings, going to have to deal with evolutionary biology. Evolutionary biology is the subfield of biology that studies the evolutionary process that produced that diversity of life on Earth. So then, why is the population in the Nile Valley diverse? Was it because of constant invasions from Europe? Or was it just based off the geographical reasons, locations on the Nile, which is the longest river on planet Earth, 4,100 miles, that goes through two zones, zone 1 and zone 2. So there's going to be a diversity in skin color just in Africa, period. And nobody should be fighting that. Nobody should be looking at nothing saying, well, they not this because of this. No, you should not be saying that because the environment is very diverse. And not to mention, people come out of the Green Sahara, we understand this, and they migrate to the Nile. But why Charles Darwin? Well, let's see. How did he do this? The survey voyage on the HMS Beagle. Y'all not even gonna read this. 2 voyages. But look, 1831 to 1836. That's 5 years, right? Y'all can see the map. As he's circumnavigating around the world, that's how we know the Earth ain't flat. Because Charles Darwin did it. He goes to Sydney. He's Sydney, right? You're gonna see diverse population, them islands, right? You can come up to here, okay? Gonna come to the tip of Africa, right? Brazil, right? You know he's running into the slaves because where the highest concentration of slaves is in South America, right? But he's running in different zones. He's in zone 1. He goes all the way up here. Look, all the way up here, zone 3, ladies and gentlemen, up here. Plymouth, Plymouth Rock. All right, right? Cape Verdes. So he's in all these zones. So he's seeing different peoples, different skin complexions. He's running across indigenous people. He's looking at different plants and different fauna. I think he did that on purpose to go all the way up there and come all the way back around, right? But he's looking at diverse plants and animals, ladies and gentlemen. This is how he was able to come up with this. And he's taking notes. He's not just looking at it, right? He's taking data. So what did he come up with after taking the data, after taking the survey and doing what he did? What did he actually come up with? Let's see. What was he doing? What was he saying? You hear some people lie in their attempt to fight and debunk Charles Darwin. You will lie and say that he said it was different races. Yeah, they would say whatever they need to say to support what they're trying to do. Whether they got religious ideology, they're going to try to play the game, right? It's always something. Even if Charles Darwin was a racist, what that got to do with evolution? That still doesn't stop. So they say it to say, well, since he's a racist, then he couldn't have came up with that theory. That his theory is tainted. Yeah, almost. No cigar. Because why? We just read what the theory was, didn't we? It's supported, right? Not because Charles Darwin said it, right? But because the data plays out. See where we at. Yeah, he's one of the first persons that they actually put their head on the body of a monkey. It was dogging him. With Darwin, ape body. He was identified him with popular culture as the leading authority in evolutionary theory. So the misinformation start way back then, ladies and gentlemen. That's misinformation, because don't no scientists say that. That's not how that would have even came close to occurring, right? No, it wouldn't have. So I want to find a spot right here real quick. Let me see. All right, so we moving real quick. The descent of man. And we're just going to come right here, right? On the races of man. And as you look and read the text, and I put it in the bottom of that, right? You had different people. Let's see. So it's a in the first chapter of the book, Darwin argued that there is no fundamental gap between humans and other animals in intellectual or moral faculties as well as anatomy. Says retreating. Y'all should do that. Y'all should retreat away from some stances y'all was saying. It's possible. From agrarian ideas of the 1830s, he ranked life on a hierarchic scale, which he extended to human races on the basis of anthropology published since 1860. Human prehistory outlined by John Lubbock and Edward Burnett Taylor combined archaeology and studies of modern indigenous people to show progressive evolution. Let's see what progressive evolution is. Look, progressive evolution is the absolute biological hypothesis that organisms have an innate tendency to evolve in a definite direction towards a goal. We know that's not true. Evolution does not have a goal. It only works good enough. Genes are selected because they work just good enough. Progressive evolution from the Stone Age to Steam Age. It say the humans mind as the same in all cultures, but with modern primitive peoples giving insight into prehistoric ways of life. It say Darwin did not support their view that progress was what? Inevitable, but he shared their belief in human unity and held the common attitude that male European liberalism, watch this, and civilization had progressed further in morality and intellect than the savage people. Now y'all say, oh man, what is he talking about? What did he mean? What do you mean by primitive? Well, if you read his work, right, he claims that all people came from primitive or savages people. So if he understood that Europeans, he was talking about the progress of where they was, how they got there, how they moved from this to that. Remember when he went around that globe, man, he seen people that didn't have on clothes, right? He seen people that didn't have the technology they had. So being a person coming from that type of level, he would have had the mindset of most people. Now, wouldn't he? That he felt like technology was just better. The same things y'all do. But let's keep moving. All right. Let's get to right here. 1 second. All right, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, you know, Hitler and them was real wild. Now, Hitler and them was on something different. Hold on. Wait. Let me get here. Hold on. 1 second. Nope. All right. I want to talk about in his book, okay, introducing chapter 7 on the races of man. So what Darwin did was he took both sides of the argument, right? Hold on. Okay, so introducing chapter 7, Darwin wrote, "It is not my intention here to describe several so-called races of men, but to inquire what is the value of the differences between them under, look, can y'all hear me? Check. Can y'all hear me? All right, hold on. All right, where I'm at. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Was that right here? What was that? Where I'm at, okay, the difference between them under a classificatory point of view, I think I was right here, and how they have originated. It's saying answering the question of whether the races should rank as varieties of the same species, right? Or here's the or count as different species. So you'll hear people lying and claiming that Darwin was talking about different races. You just ain't read his work. So there's a question here, right? In answering the question of whether the races should rank as varieties of the same species, right? Or count as different species, Darwin discussed arguments which could support the idea that human races were distinct species. See, so people will cut and paste that like a Baptist preacher, right? They'll go to the arguments when you know what I'm saying, when he's reading the arguments that support that, and they go right to that section. That's the religious amongst us, and say, yeah, you see, he was saying we was different, we were different races. Now, why am I doing this? I'm doing this to show you that it wouldn't have made no sense because the man did a theory, put up a theory, and I told you what a theory was, right? Empirical evidence, tested, repeated over and over again. So he would understand that it wasn't more than one race. To even play that card, let me keep going. This included the geological distribution of mammal groups, which were correlated with the distribution of human races, and the findings of Henry Denny that differentiate that different species of lice affected different races differently. Darwin then presented the stronger evidence. Darwin then presented the stronger evidence that human races are all the same species, noting that when races mix together, they intercross beyond the usual test of specific distinctiveness, and that characteristics identifying races were highly valuable. He put great weight on the point that races graduate into each other, writing, but the most weighty of all the arguments against treating races of man as distinct species is that they graduate into each other, say, independently, in many cases, as far as we can judge of their having intercrossed, and concluded that stronger evidence was that they were not different species. Well, there you go. There you have it right there. It say this conclusion of human unity was supported by what? Monogenism, including John Bachman's evidence that intercross human races were fully fertile. It say proponents of polygenism, that's Hitler and the boys, oppose unity, but the gradual transition from one race to another confused them when they tried to decide how many human races should count as species. Lewis said 8, but Morton said 22. Darwin commented that the question whether mankind consists of 1 or 7 species has of late years been much agitated by anthropologists who are divided into 2 schools, monogenous and polygenous. They say the later had to look at species either as separate creations or as in some manner distinct entities. But those accepting evolution, will feel no doubt that all races of man are descended from a single primitive stock. Although races differed considerably, they also shared so many features that it is extremely improbable that they should have been independently acquired by aboriginally distinct species or races. Okay, now this is important. Anybody that's been studying me know this. He drew, now watch this. Y'all calling them races, right? But watch this. He drew on his own memoirs of Jimmy Button. Jimmy Button, right? Was a member of the Yakim people from the islands around Terre de Fuego and Modern Child. All right. And y'all should know who this is. John Edmonton, all right, was a taxidermist and teacher, right, of taxidermy in Edinburgh, Scotland. He was influential. He was an influential Black Briton. So he's taken from 2 native people, one from Child, right, and an African that actually told him this, right? So he already knowing, watch this, to emphasize the numerous points of mental similarities. So he never thought that white people could think better than the other races of people of that day. So now you got to see what his mind was, because he's learning from indigenous people, right? And he emphasizes the numerous points of mental similarities between the most distinct races of man. He said the American Aborigines, the Negroes, the Europeans differ as much from each other in mind as any 3 races that can be named. Yet, I watch this. Watch this. Yet I was essentially struck while it's living with the Fulgurins on board the Beagle with the many little traits of character. Now watch this. Seeing how similar their minds were to ours. And so it was with a full-blooded, you're going to jump out your seat, with a full-blooded Negro with whom I happened once to be intimate. So he was saying, man, I slept with this woman, right? Full-blooded Negro, and she wasn't no different than any woman I messed with. Her mind, all that was there. I said, that's a hell of a scientific experiment. Yeah, that's a hell of a scientific experiment. I think most Europeans that were sleeping with black women understood that truth. Darwin concluded that when the principles of evolution are generally accepted, as they surely will be before long, the dispute between monogenes and polygenes will die a silent and unobserved death. Yeah, but y'all won't let it die though, yo. Yeah, so Darwin rejected both ideas that races had been separately created, and the concept of races had evolved in parallel from separate ancestral species. Simple as that. All right. He wasn't on that. So for y'all to say, well, he was, right? And for y'all to say, well, he was just a racist. I don't know what he was, but I'm saying his theory fought against racism. His theory actually overturned the racism. This person right here is important. Morton. Well, who the hell is Morton? Who is Morton? Y'all know who Morton was. Morton got them scars from Egypt. Remember that? Definitely a racist, right? Samuel Morton, often taught, originator of the American ethology, a school of thought in antebellum American science that claimed differences between humans was one species rather than a variety, and is seen by some as the origin of scientific racism. See? See? Scientific racism. Morton. Got a whole thing. I want y'all, I'm not going to read this now, right? All right. Okay. So Morton followers, particularly Joseph C. Knotts, right? Look, George Giddens, Egyptologists, right? These Egyptologists, right? They sent in the skulls. In their monumental tribute to Morton's work, The Types of Mankind, y'all, I'm going to show y'all the picture, 1854, carried Morton's idea further and backed up his finding, which supported the notion of polygenism. The premise that different races were separately created by God. It say the publication of Charles Darwin's On the Origin of the Species and look, 1859, look, changed the nature of the scholarly debate. I told you. Oh, y'all don't remember the pictures, what it looked like? Y'all remember what he did? Y'all remember this? These skulls that he had. Matter of fact, I got the book. I thought maybe this, let me see. I thought maybe I could actually show y'all. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, get out of that. So when I was doing the homework, you know, you got to do homework and study these people. These are people you got to study if you're going to really get with me, right? So y'all, we end up doing the same. Look, see? Right here, see? There's George Robbins, Knotts, Samuel. See? Clark, Knotts, Samuel, right there. And Morton, that's them. Right? And they was wild with it, yo. And they was promoting that, right? And they had you right there with the monkey. So that's where y'all get it. See? See that? It had y'all closer to the gorillas. Look. See, it had the Greeks be the highest. And they was measuring these skulls and they was getting it from Egypt. And that kind of puts us right where we need to be. Yeah. All right. See? Yeah, we read through these works, man. It's just important, man. And you know, you shouldn't have to fight this hard, man. You know, you got to get off that. Like you cannot do what they did, man. You know what I'm saying? No matter how they was all believing in Noah's Ark, the whole night, it was wild out, bro. They absolutely was, man. I'm trying to. All right. Here, let me show y'all this. You slow down on the reading for a minute, man. Got 196,000, man. We learning something, man. I ain't even got the Diops yet. Ha! Cairo Symposium. Wait for that. All right. So here. He's an anthropologist, right? Evolving views on race. Look, on race of the Egyptians, right? He was part of the ones throwing the scholarship in there. Look. See? There you go. There we have it. There you go. Chimpanzee. All right. Creole Negro. See, this is what y'all be thinking. Y'all be thinking we this. Y'all be on that. Remember, I keep saying, yo, stop it. Y'all think you gotta look like that to be African. Illustration from Indigenous Races of Earth, 1857, who authors Knox and George Giddon implied that Negroes were what? A creational rank between Greeks and chimpanzees. There you go. Yeah. There you have it. Ancient crania. Thebes. Look, from Thebes. By Morton termed Negro heads. Huh. Figure 148 types of mankind, page 222. You know we can pull that up. Look, Negro heads. Whereas to us, they yield rather the old Egyptian type. See, they were saying the Negro heads was the old Egyptian type. See, they never could get out of that. And so there never was a time they was acting like they wasn't, you know, they, first of all, the term Negro meaning black. Let's get that straight, right? And so he would say, well, damn, they looking at skulls and they saying they was Negro type, right? Yeah, they said they was white black, though. Remember they did all that game? They did all that. So we go through all the lineage to see what they was doing. So there never was a time where there wasn't a variation in Egypt, so much so that they could not see them. They could not see the different types of skulls. And see, this was the problem at. When they started to find different types of skulls, they started applying different races to it. And that was the issue. And this is the point I'm doing. So just because y'all find variation in skin color, stop applying race to it. So if it's light, right, don't make it some outside Indo-European stock. And if it's brown or dark brown, then you want to make it black type or Negro. But you're doing the same thing they did because you're looking at the same material they looked at. Matter of fact, they was the ones that orchestrated it, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say this real slow for you. Catch what I'm saying. Y'all ain't looking at nothing new. They looked at the same thing. It was the primaries. They was digging up the skull. That's what Morton was doing. Right? And to them, based off their work, they was Negroid type, the old Negroid type. Okay? Then you get Rising and them going in and say, yeah, the Negroes are plentiful. I got it. Look. Making a point here. Don't jump out the window too fast. Yeah, I got all the words. Look. See? I got the whole joint by Knox, the Indigenous Races on Earth. See, that's Knox. I got the whole work, right? Yeah. And look, Samuel George Morton. All right. Yeah, got a whole. That's all he was doing was looking at the skulls, y'all. That's all he was doing. Yeah, man. And then he got a whole chapter dedicated to Negroes. It's wild. Of course, I'm not going to read that. Yeah. But when Rising came in there, Rising was like, yo, they all over the place. They slaves like they was in America. So that type of skull that he attributed to Negroes, he said it was everywhere, plentiful. Right? But they were slaves. So he relegated certain types to slavery just based off some foolery. Just saying. They just said it and it was, right? So don't go and reverse and do the same thing. You see a picture, it's dark brown, and you make it something that's not. That's the same thing they did. Let me slow this down. What they did was they felt like they could determine what an Egyptian was based off of the skull type. And if you had what they classified as a Negro type, you was definitely a slave. Although you in all the homes of the Egyptians, you was a slave. Y'all do the same thing. Y'all say because y'all light skin, they the Arabs came in. They light skin, they the Arabs. Y'all doing the same thing. Y'all just doing it with skin color. Why else would you be showing a whole lot of pictures of this and a whole lot of pictures of that and that? Why? When, like I said, and I should have started off with, we already won. Diop's won. When I said he won, he made them look to Africa. He wrestled it out of the hands of them nuts I just showed y'all, right? And at the scientific conference, they was like, yeah, they African. Now, where was he wrong at? So where we at now? So we went to more than Knox and them. We went to scientific racism. We went to Darwin, right? Why Darwin was important. Hold on. I wanted, you see, y'all didn't know why I was doing it that way, right? Yeah, I wanted to, put it all together, how it's intertwined with Darwin and that's all in the game, y'all. Now y'all see. Y'all finally get to actually see it. How it's all in that game right there. The Darwin. That's why we got to know about Darwin. Nobody took the time to put it together for me. I read about Darwin in Dr. Ben's work, man. Type in black man of the Nile and type in Charles Darwin name or Africa the mother of Western civilization or Orange and type in Sir Charles Darwin's name, right? Type that in. You jumped out the window too soon. Pan-African designs. You just did, man. And so in the community, he's credited with defeating the Europeans and proving that the Egyptians are black. Is that not what he's credited with? And I'm saying that ain't where the victory was won at. The victory was won when he wrestled it out of the hands of Egyptologists, like them dudes I just showed you. Was like, nah, it's the African stock, right? They black, but they was like, nah. And so let's get to it. So you cannot have this conversation without Charles Darwin because they're all intertwined, right? And as I read, y'all can go back watch the video, yo. Until Charles Darwin put out his theory, then the critique could start on what the hell they was talking about, and it says it right there. I didn't add nothing to it. So why Charles Darwin, y'all? For all y'all talking crazy and reckless about Charles Darwin, stop using his theory. Don't use his theory no more. And don't even say you out of Africa no more. The recent African origin of modern humans, where they get that from? Who put that in their mind? Boy, I tell you, why Unc always so wrapped up in Charles Darwin? Why y'all always saying we come from Africa then? Let me look y'all in the face for this one. Why I'm always talking about Charles Darwin? Why the hell y'all always talking about y'all come from Africa then? I'm talking about my Pan-African brothers. I'm talking about my Blackology brothers that's fight me on Charles Darwin. Stop saying you come from Africa then. And I stop talking about Charles Darwin. What they got to do with anything? Well, I just showed you what he was talking about, but they was talking about digging in Egypt. All in the Wikipedia articles that I showed you. Now, let's come to this. This is why y'all got to stop talking about y'all come from Africa. right here. The recent out of Africa. Do, 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 do. Okay. The history of the theory. It's a quick map you use on your it's a quick migration map you use on the migration routes of modern humans showing northern routes, population Western Eurasia, and the southern coast routes populating Eastern Eurasia. Yeah, that's for them fakians that think they real quick. Let me get that off the screen real quick. I don't want y'all to see that. All right. Here we go. Genetic. No, y'all never win. Here you go. The history, ladies and gentlemen, of the theory. The cladistic relationship. I'm gonna read this slow for y'all. Either the black algists gonna leave me the hell alone with Charles Darwin, or y'all gonna stop talking about we come from Africa and Africa then be after that. Because none of your elders knew this, no matter what you say. The cladistic relationship of humans with the African apes was suggested by Charles Darwin. After studying the behavior of African apes, one of which was displayed at the London Zoo, Thomas Huxley had also supported the hypothesis and suggested that African apes have a close evolutionary relationship with humans. These views were opposed by the German biologist Ernest Haeckel, who was a proponent of the Outer Asia theory. You know, like our elders, well, one of my damn elders, but like the Nation of Islam and all that, they taught the Outer Asia, remember? The Asiatic black man. So all those Muslim blackologists taught the Outer Asia. So they heckle dudes who was a proponent of the Outer Asia theory. Haeckel argued that humans were more closely related to primates in Southeast Asia and rejected Darwin's African hypothesis. So that's what? That's what? That's who? Huh? What? I can't hear you. I can't hear the flim flam of bim bam or boomers. I don't hear you. Haeckel argued that humans were more closely related to primates of Southeast Asia and rejected who, y'all? Who did he reject? Darwin's African hypothesis. In The Descent of Man, Darwin speculated that humans had descended from apes, which still had small brains but walked upright, freeing their hands for using which favored intelligence. He thought such apes were African. And since the apes was African, then his closest progenitors was humans. They came from Africa. See how he did that? In 1871, there were hardly any fossils of ancient hominids available. And he did get a fossil of Neanderthal. Anybody want to challenge me on that? Almost 50 years later, Darwin's speculation, which was really a what's the word I want to use? He made a prediction, was supported when anthropologists began finding fossils of ancient small brain hominids in several areas in Africa. Here's a list of hominid fossils. The hypothesis of the recent as opposed to archaic African origins developed in the 20th century. The recent African origin of modern human means single origin, y'all. Here you go. Hear that word again. Monogenism. Where we heard that before? And has been used in various contexts as an anthem to polygenism. Where did we hear this at before? Right. Now y'all get it. Now we on par now, y'all. Now we starting to catch up. So all you blackologists, right? And all you claiming you come from Africa, but yet got enough time instead of reading and arguing with me over Charles Darwin. Stop following the racist theory that humans come from Africa since you thinking that Charles Darwin is a racist then. If that's the point you was trying to make, because I don't know what you're doing. You're not reading, but you're coming to me. Go pick somebody else. I ain't never been to Mark. Maybe I just look this way, but I ain't never been to Mark. In no circles I travel, am I the Mark? I just refuse to be. So this is what y'all doing to Egypt. Race. Race is the categorization of humans based on shared physical and social qualities into groups generally viewed as distinct within a given society. They say the term came into common use during the 16th century when it was used to refer to groups of various kinds, including characterizations of close kinship relations. But in the 17th century, the term began to refer to physical phenotypical traits and then later national affinities. Modern science regards race as a social construct. There's that word again. Being a social construct does not mean that you all of a sudden by default forget the murder and torture that people went through based off their social construct. You don't all of a sudden forget that Adolf Hitler put Jewish people in ovens in concentration camps. Understands the social construct don't mean you forgot about the millions of Africans shipped from Africa to the islands, to the Americas, to South America. You don't forget that. But it's a social construct, an identity which is assigned based on rules made by society. What's the rule? That the darker skinned people are stupid. It goes straight to racism. So I ain't gonna call my brothers racist for using the race thing. I'm just saying y'all having too much fun. What y'all doing is color terminology. Identifying human races in terms of skin color. A lot of people did this. What did Charles Darwin say about it? It was long recognized that a number of categories, arbitrary and subjective, and different ethnic groups were placed in different categories at different points in time. Francis Werner doubted the validity of using skin color as a racial characteristic, and Charles Darwin in 1871 emphasized the gradual differences between categories. Today, there is a broad agreement among scientists the typological concept of race has no scientific basis. Let's get out of color racism for a minute. Outline of science. Y'all need to get this. Scientific discovery, the essence of science, research, systematic investigation into existing or new knowledge. Do this. We could do this with Egypt, y'all. Stuff has been taken to laboratories, objectivity, inquiry. Any process that has the aim of arguing knowledge, resolving doubt, or solving a damn problem, man. So this is why we use science to understand the Nile Valley civilization, y'all. Then there's not this confusion of a person putting up a wooden statue and hounding out a particular race. You already know that's a stop sign. We got two stop signs. Trying to make the Egyptian their own race. Trying to exclude Egyptians because of their skin color, whether light or dark. White people did it with the dark. Now y'all doing it with the light. Y'all wild for that. It's a stop sign. It's a clear stop sign. So anybody doing that going forward is breaking the stop sign, and you trying to say it's another race. You've been trying to trick us. You trick them shit. There is a race, it's not a race, it's not a race, it is a race. Well, which one is it? So stop saying it then. Skin color is beautiful. Dark skin color is beautiful. Brown skin color is beautiful. Light skin color is beautiful. It's the variation. The Khoisan. light brown skin, are the oldest people on planet Earth. How? How is that? How come they're not the darkest people on planet Earth based off what you think you're saying? Because you don't understand evolution. Scientific method, empirical method, predicting a logical consequence of the hypothesis. This is what Charles Darwin did. Boom. And then, of course, you got scientific prediction, natural experiment, observational studies. All this is in here. Formal science, different branches. We ain't gonna get into all that, but y'all can look it up. History of science. Y'all can get all into that. The history of pseudoscience. Oh, man. It's right here. The history of pseudoscience is the study of pseudoscientific theories over time. A pseudoscience is a set of ideas that presents itself as science while it does not meet the criteria to properly be called such. Let me look at y'all. I gotta look at y'all. Every time you show a damn statue and say that's a damn black person, that's some unscientific shit. Just for the record. Every time you show a picture saying that's a black person, it's unscientific. It's pseudoscientific. I'm going to say this again for y'all. Every time you pull a damn picture and say this is that dude because of the way it look a ship at an all-time high. That's called pseudoscience, ladies and gentlemen. Now they're going to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. What you mean? It's a stop sign. Y'all running past the stop sign. It's called science. It governs you. It governs your behavior on said topics. You need to be governed. Trust me with that. You're running wild with it. You showing statues, wooden statues. Oh, that's a Chinese. Really? You need the governing on you. Govern that. It's called science is the great governor. Might not like it, might not want to hear it, but like I said, man, we already won. Stop messing up the victory. We trying to celebrate. We got the trophy. Nile Valley Africans, right? I done argued with niggas over the term Nile Valley. 2-3 years. Remember that? Oh, that don't mean that. Shut up, it did mean that. Now, all governing bodies agree since 1974. Yeah, I heard you say, yeah, that's outdated. No, that's not outdated. The Cairo Symposium is not outdated. Now, you know, if I say it, I'm going to back it up. Why? How come the Cairo Symposium is not outdated? It's not outdated because there was something that Diop actually got off. And we know he got something off because he ended up in the Met Museum. Now, just because he got a very important piece off, which is the foundation of where they end up going, doesn't mean he fucking won that. What it means is that pay attention. So now let's get into the pay attention stage. We know what the stop sign is. If anybody's showing you statues of lips and broken noses and say, aha, this is it, they practicing pseudoscience. And it's not because I like using the word pseudoscience. It's because it's in the what, ladies and gentlemen? So y'all think I just like using that just to say it, right? That's what y'all was thinking. Because it's in an outline of science. Look, when you're doing your study, right? When you up on science, when you outline of science and you go to all, look, the following outline is provided as, look, a topical overview of science. The discipline of science is defined as both systematic effort of acquiring knowledge through observation, experimentation, and reasoning, and the body of knowledge thus acquired. The word science derives from the Latin word, shut up, dog. The Latin word scientia, meaning knowledge. The practitioner of science is called a scientist. Modern science respects objective logical reasoning. You gotta respect that. and follows a set of core procedures or rules to determine the nature of the underlying natural laws of all things, with the scope encompassing the entire universe. These procedures or rules are known as scientific method. So if we're reading scientific data, you can't get out of this. It won't let you get away from this. This is why we say it. The history of pseudoscience is the history of pseudoscience. Remember, that whole scientific racism was actually pseudoscience. It's the study of pseudoscientific theories over time, like the whole race thing. A pseudoscience is a set of ideas that presents itself as science, while it does not meet the criteria to properly be called such. Stop pulling up the wooden statues. Knock it off. Stop pulling up the pictures. Oh, I'm seeing the lips, look at the ears. Stop it. That's why we called it look a shit. End up being foolish shit for those who don't know. Yeah. Shout out to Ngozi. He definitely was the first person to say it on our blog talk show, and I can tell who he said it to. Man, he said it to Clyde Winters, man. That's why I went so hard on Reggie, man. When he brought up Clyde Winters, I was like, man, yo, he was the first person ever called pseudo in the community, yo. Oh, shit. Anyway, yeah, that's funny. That's real funny. And y'all all messed this up right here. The facts, scientific facts are verified by repeatable, careful observation or measurements by experiments or other means. Y'all mess up with a damn fact is. I just want to throw this in for good measure while we get ready to get the Diops now. In science, the definition of scientific fact is different from the definition of a fact. See, now we learning. Now we teaching. Remember I said science has its own language and definitions of terms. Stop messing it up. As it implies now, the scientific fact is the result of a repeatable, careful observation or measurement by experimentation or other means as called empirical evidence. These are central to building the scientific theories. Various forms of observation and measurements lead to the fundamental questions about the scientific method and the scope of validity of the scientific reasoning. In the most basic sense, scientific fact is an objective and verifiable observation in contrast with hypothesis or theory, which is intended, to explain or interpret the facts. The facts. Scientific method and historical philosophy introduction. I'm going to say this real slow for y'all. And watch some wild religious person going to jump up here and say the nonsense. In the most basic sense, ladies and gentlemen, a scientific fact is an objective and verifiable observation in contrast with a hypothesis or theory, which is intended to explain or interpret the facts. So scientific theory organizes and interprets the facts, y'all. Hypothesis or theory, which is intended to explain or interpret the facts. So when I tell you that a scientific theory organizes the facts, now you know why. Yeah, so we smoothing it right now, yo. We right there, yo. We're at an hour and a half, man, and we ain't got the Diops yet, man. I'm gonna drop that link though. Then we're gonna get in the Diops. I didn't want to hear all that ruckus around me. I wanted to get that foundation off. Right? It's 171 people in the building. Yo, I had to get that foundation off. Now we're gonna get in the Diops, yo. So everybody howling, screaming. I don't know what you talking about, Tony McAvoy. What you talking about, man? What you talking about, man? Talking about, man? What you talking about, man? Come on. Look, stop sign burn. Ancient Egypt, where black you wasting time telling us about signs. Stop sign. What I tell you? See, what I tell you, I'm a stop sign runner. He's running a stop sign. He's with Adolf Hitler. Well, I don't know. I ain't gonna never put a black person with Adolf Hitler, but I'm just saying, yo, like, yeah, that was definitely an enslaving tactic, yo. When they raced us up like that, yo, that was definitely that, yo. Yeah, yo. Nah, you know you messing it up. I know you trying. Nambi, you trying. Look, no facts exist above and beyond universal law. Not in science, though, sis. That might work, Miss Niambi. That might work, but in science, that's not what it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's not how it works in science, yo. There's no hierarchy in a scientific theory in the law. One is not higher than the other, sis. You might be talking about something else. Shout out to Smack Rock Wells. Yeah, the peanut gallery be banging. Let's get into Diops. Let's see if the black Egyptian argument won. Here we go. So I first want to come to reinforce the stop sign because I know y'all going to run it. They already running in the chat. I just want to glide over UNESCO statements on race. They did one in 1950. Statement on race in Paris, July 50. I'm not going to read it. I've already made my issue, right? 1954, the statement on the nature of race and race differences. 1951, then 1964, proposal on biological aspects of race. Statement on race and racial prejudice, 1967. So what happened between, let's see. Hold on. One sec. All right. So there's those statements on race, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. We ain't going to read it. We ain't going to read it, but y'all know what was going on. All right. All right. So now let's move to the topic at hand. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Let's move. Let's get to it. Let's get to the general history of Africa. About the project in 1964. In 1964. So y'all won't say they was racist and all that when they render their findings. We won't hear all that. Launched an elaboration of the general history of Africa. That's the GHA. With a view to remedy the general ignorance on African history. I see that's starting to come back a little bit. It says the challenge consisted of reconstructing Africa's history, freeing it from racial prejudice, right, ensuing from the slave trade and colonization, and promoting an African perspective. See? But they wasn't just talking about any old plain African perspective. They weren't just talking about no just African agency. They was talking about a scientific African perspective. Qualified African perspective. All right? So anybody calling Diop a pseudo, you're fucking pseudo. Because he wasn't a pseudo. He was qualified. And he fought the game at the highest level. One part of his conversation moved the needle. The other part fell flat on his face. And all scientists run the risk of falling flat on their face. But it's the measure of the job. It doesn't mean you were pseudo. It doesn't mean you're a clown. It just means that your peers didn't accept the ideas. Doesn't mean that the community run and lie and make up something that didn't happen. And they've been doing it because I know how I learned it. He won. No clarity on what did he do, how did it happen, none of that. We had to wait till this came out, ladies and gentlemen. Man, where is that at? Damn. We had to wait till this came out because when nobody tells the truth, they was halfway telling us, yo. They wouldn't tell us. We was trying to find out, they wouldn't tell us. Look, they wouldn't tell us. The damn white man had to tell us because we made it up. The African Origin of Civilization exhibition. They had to tell us. African installations across the Met. Exhibition objects. Y'all wouldn't tell us the truth about Diops. Say scholars today recognize Africa as the source of our common ancestry. And it talks about how it was in 1974, even after UNESCO made the daggone statements. I read this earlier. All right. So let's get you where we really want to get to. We really want to read this. This is what we really want to read. Let me tell you what we really want to read. This is something what nobody read. I don't know why y'all ain't finished reading that. So, all right, so we right here real quick, right? It said UNESCO therefore called upon the then utmost African and non-African experts. So this is a conference of experts. It's a scientific conference, ladies and gentlemen, at UNESCO. So ain't none of y'all running no stop sign on that. Y'all not getting past the experts. Is it outdated, though? This we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Is it outdated? We want to know, brother. Oh, man, I just let you in. Are you in there? All right, so we right. It say these experts represent 35 years of collaboration between more than 230 historians and other specialists, and was overseen by the international scientific community, which comprised 2/3 of Africans. So they made sure 2/3 of the daggone committee, scientific community, was African. So don't say it's the white man's science. You got Africans participating at the highest level. The general history of Africa is a pioneering corpus, unparalleled in its ambition to cover the history of the entire African continent since the appearance of human beings to contemporary challenges faced by Africans and their diasporas in the world. It is a history that no longer leaves the pre-colonial period in the shadows and that deeply integrates the destiny of Africa into that of humanity by highlighting his relations with the other continents and the contributions of African cultures to the general process of humanity. All right? That's the conference they all talk about. 1964, they started the project. It culminated in 1974 in that. This is what y'all really want me to read. This is what y'all really want me to read right here. Is this what y'all really want to read? Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the general history of Africa. All right? All right? This is what we really want to get into. Let me get the thing open because this hot right here. This is the hot one right here. Yeah, I can hear you. What's up? Which is your thing going out? The good guy, what's up?
I'm just listening for right now.
All right, brother. Yeah, we about to get into the part we really want to hear. This we really want to hear. We want to hear all that. We want to hear this. All right, I just want to show y'all some pictures. Is that there? I like they. I don't know who that like. I thought it was like their file banger right there. Didn't it? All right. Well, I just wanted to show y'all that there's Africans on this piece right here, man. All right. This is a 1977 meeting. Okay. That is that old banger? I don't know. I can't read that. Anyway, okay, let us move on because this is what you really want to read. Right here. This is going to end it all. All that halfway talking, halfway slick, got wild out. Yeah. This is what you really want to read. Phase 1 was in what, 1964, 1999. This tremendous undertaking represented 35 years of cooperation between about 350 experts from Africa, right? And from the rest of the world. It say this work involves some of the most eminent African scholars, such as Shagant Diop, Jos Key Zebo, Theophile Banga, so stop calling him pseudo. All right. Al Missouri. Gamble Matar. Am I saying that right? Bethel Ogat. It also included non-African experts such as Jan Vanson and Jean DeVries. We don't want to hear about that. We want to hear about what they talking about, what the Africans was talking about, right? That's what y'all really want to hear. This what y'all really, so the community can no longer say the things that they said out their mouth, either way about this subject. We want to see, is it outdated? These are the books right here. That's the 8-volume set. I suggest y'all get that. All right. We getting there. Oh, man. This was it. This is it. Conflicting views between historians. Due to the nature of the series, different historians had contrasting and conflicting views on certain subject matters. Shagant Diop's Origin, Ancient Egyptian chapter. Shagant Diop's contribution to the second volume focused on the ancient Egyptian race controversy and his argument that, here go his argument, ladies and gentlemen, his argument that the whole of the ancient Egyptian population was Negro. In English language, Negro is the term historically used to denote persons considered to be of Black African heritage. The word Negro means the color black in both Spanish and Portuguese, where English took its form from. Now, what was his argument now? His argument was that the whole of the ancient Egyptian population was Negro, barring, here's the one y'all die to, barring, y'all know what I mean, barring an infiltration of white nomads in the proto-dynastic. Mm, 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 mm. So Diop clearly said it was some white nomads that came in. Maybe they hung out in the Delta area forever, huh? Funny. Yeah, so where is it at? Right, it's in volume 2, right? Volume 2. Where's volume 2 at, ladies and gentlemen? Where is volume 2? Where is volume 2? Where is volume 2 at? Man. I lose my daggone space. Let me get this. Let me get y'all in here, though. He keep coming out. I don't know why he keep diving out like that. Well, let's see. Boom. Here you go. 29. That's the book I got in my hand. That's the one that I was shooting y'all up with. Got it in my hand. It says the term brown in its context refers to the skin color and simple a euphemism for Negro. It is thus clear that it was the whole of Egyptian population which was Negro. Let me make this big for y'all. Come on, I'm just gonna skip bang it. Oh man. I want y'all to see this. This is the book I got my daggone hand. Damn, did it knock it out? Doing it so y'all ain't gotta do it. There you go. There you go. Look. 29. Euphemism for Negro. It says, it is thus clear that it was the whole of the Egyptian population which was Negro. So Diop's argument was that the whole population of Egyptians was Negro, barring an infiltration of white nomads in the proto-dynastic epoch. Goes on to say, in Petrie's study of the Egyptian race, we are introduced to the possible classification of elements in great abundance, which cannot fail to be surprise the reader. Y'all gonna have to go read that because they talking about the shapes of noses, all kind of stuff. Libyan race, they talk about the white Libyan race, all kind of stuff, right? Get to work, right? But I want y'all can get this right. I think I posted it. Y'all can get this and read that, but we wanted to find out what was Diop's argument. Did y'all claim he won? Well, he didn't win that. So we don't even got to argue that anymore. We good now. We can move forward to say, okay, he definitely lost that part. That ain't what made him famous. That ain't what got him into the Met. Wasn't that? So why is it that we hear this? You got the Black Alga's websites, right? They holler at, right? Why not just tell the truth? Because what the brother did, was he did something that was actually spectacular, right? Oh man. So I don't hold on. Let me get damn man. Oh man, I lose it. I mean, like, he didn't win that, y'all. And y'all seen that. How many of y'all think that Diop's won that? Right now, I ain't finished reading. I just want to see how far y'all gonna go. Right now, we know what his argument was. All right, it was clear now what his argument was, because it's in the it's in the joint. Yeah, it's clear. All right, let me share my screen. It's clear. It's clear. Super clear now. Now we ain't got to play now. See, we was playing for years because ain't nobody told Bobby Banger that. Most y'all thought I was out my mind when I was saying that. I just held back for 3 years. I said, let me see how far it's going to go. Let me see if somebody else going to read it. Let me see. Yeah, appreciate that, though. Yeah. Here you go. Let's get here. We want to see what the disagreements was. Beat me up. Ain't beat me up. Now, we're at the scientific conference here, yo. Was Negro barring the infiltration of white nomads? So Diop's talked about the white nomads in the pre-dynastic epoch. He say, and that the black population of Upper Egypt began to retreat only at the time of the Persian occupation. Retreat to where? He didn't say where, did he? Nope. This argument was not universally accepted by the other contributors to the UNESCO series. The Diop's chapter had a note for the editor, Gamble Mukhtar, warning the reader that the opinion expressed by Professor Shigant Diop in this chapter are those which he presented and developed at UNESCO Symposium on the People of Ancient Egypt. It say the arguments put forward in this chapter have not been accepted by all experts interested in the problem. It says in the introduction to the volume, Mukhtar himself argued that it is highly doubtful whether the inhabitants that introduced civilization into the Nile Valley ever belonged to one single pure race. Now, I want y'all to hear this again. This is interesting here. All right. So remember, all right, they're talking about the Cairo Symposium, right? They're talking about the General History of Africa, Book 2. All right. And you got to read this. It say in the introduction to the volume, Mukhtar himself argued that it is highly doubtful whether the inhabitants that introduced civilization into the Nile Valley ever belonged to one single pure race, because that's what Diop was arguing, that they was Negroes with some infiltration from some white nomads. Mukhtar later added in the introduction that it is more than possible that the African strand, black or light, is predominant in ancient Egyptian, but in the present state of our knowledge, it is impossible to say more. So how come for years everybody said more, when the experts were saying it's impossible to say more? But what was it that he said? He said it is more than probable that the African strand, we want to see is reading outdated material, black or light. So the African strand comes in black and light. Light don't mean invader. Yo, wow. Is predominant in ancient Egypt, but in the present state of our knowledge, it is impossible to say more. So he's talking about they was Africans. Black or light. It's important right here. It's a Diop's chapter was followed by a summary in 1974 Cairo Symposium where Diop presented his ideas and 19 other historians. It says, reaction to Diop's arguments at the symposium were wide-ranging from French professor Jean Lecine, stressed the African chapter of civilization, but felt it was important to differentiate between race and culture. See? And that there was no reason to rely on, on out-modeled studies from Ernest Chatterton, Drafton Elliott Smith, and Jessup Siegel, and Douglas Ernest Derry, as Diop's done. Let's take it slow. The reaction to Diop's argument at the symposium were wide-ranging. French professor Jean Lecine stressed the African character of Egyptian civilization. Stressed the African character of Egyptian civilization. You see what they're doing here? Listen, the African character of Egyptian civilization. It's important. The African strand from black to light. It's important. But felt it was important to differentiate between race and culture. See? And that there was no reason to rely on the out-modeled studies from, he said, all these were out-modeled studies, as Diop's had done. Sudanese professor, can't even read this, Abdullah noted that iconographic evidence showed that the creators of Napta culture had nothing in common with the Egyptians and had completely different anatomical characteristics. He further argued that Diop's linguistic composition between Egyptian and Wolof were neither convincing nor conclusive, and it was hazardous to make too uncompromising a correlation between the language and the ethnic structure. Abdullah's criticism of Diop's argument led to a lively exchange, Diop's on his head, of the views of linguistic matters between Professor Abdullah and Diop's. It's a Egyptian professor, Abu Bakr, argued that the Egyptians had never been isolated from other African peoples. That's right. And never constituted a pure race. That's right. Boom. That's in volume 2. We could go around. I don't got to pull it up. I just pulled it up for Diop's. Y'all know it's in volume 2. All right, the blue one. All right, what did he say again? Egyptian professor Abu Bakr argued that the Egyptians never had been isolated from other peoples and never constituted a pure race. Does that make sense to y'all? Not to the Black Houses, it doesn't. But to those who really care about African original people, for those who really care about African history and give it to their kids, this statement makes sense to them. The Congolese professor, Bill Filebanger, however, more supportive of Diop's views. He argued that the morphological, lexiconical, and syntactic similarities provided convincing proof of close relationship between ancient Egyptian and Negro African languages of today. And that this was not the case between Semitic, Berber, and Egyptian. French professor Jean Vercutter argued with Diop's that the population of Egyptian reaches of the Nile Valley was homogeneous as far as the southern extremity of the Delta during the proto-dynastic and pre-dynastic periods. Overall, Diop's chapter was credited in general conclusion of the 1974 Symposium report by International Scientific Committee Rapporteur Professor John Devise as painstakingly researched contribution, which nevertheless led to a real lack of balance in the discussion amongst participants. Yeah, Diop's had a whole lot of stuff they weren't even ready. had a lot of things he brought to the table. Remember we talked about that interdisciplinary study. Remember we talked about that. Noted for the scholars of studying the young brothers and sisters, this is noted that Diop's brought a lot of material to the table that they wasn't even thinking about. Van Valsian, who contributed chapters to volume 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, noted that there had previously been a clash between Diop's and Gamal Mokhtar on the matter of topics that would be included in the second volume. The committee then decided on the principle heterogeneity and that uniformity on the interpretation of historical evidence would not be imposed on any historian writing for UNESCO General History of Africa. It's going to get good. Lacedia Nordhoek argued that Diop's chapter was politically motivated. Of course. Supposed to. What was we going through? That's right. Having been published only due to being in line with UNESCO's political imperatives, right? You know, they was fighting for their liberation, the whole 9 yards, right? Despite clashing with accepted historical methods, it says, and standards of academic rigor. So they saying that some of his stuff was clashing with accepted historical methods, right? You gotta take that into play. You can't just say everything he did was there. They were like, no, some things like the melanin test, like that wasn't proving nothing. See, y'all didn't know that. Didn't know that back then, right? But it was some historical methods that was clashing with it, right? And academic rigor that they felt like he wasn't doing. It say Norhart argued that Diop's views align with what? Decolonization efforts of the general history of Africa. That's just a statement. That's how they feeling. But he premised his arguments on outdated racialism. Or which racialism? The concept of race is categorization of anatomically modern humans has an extensive history in Europe and in Americas. The contemporary word for race itself is modern. Historically, it was used in the sense of nation, ethnic group. Keep reading. Y'all know what racialism is, which classified humanity into distinct groups. Because that's what he did when he said all of Egypt was Negroid. Distinct groups with biological essence. It's a Nordhard specified the point of contention between Diop's and other historians, such as the basis of methodology and his reliance on outdated 18th century and 19th century European sources. However, she did state that, watch this, here it go. However, she did state that the contributors did come to a general consensus. They came to a general consensus that the Egyptians could not have been white. It took them that long. In the same way that Europeans were, and the disseminations of Diop's ideas contributed, watch this, to a wider recognition that ancient Egypt, here you go, this the one that gave him the gold medal, was an African civilization, although his methods were not considered entirely permissible by most of the other GHA historians. That's it right here, y'all. This is what he's going to go down in history for. This was the victory right here that y'all keep taking away. When y'all keep calling them black or Negroid. Because remember, I talked about the word Negroid, how I meant black. Y'all taking this man victory away. Look, he rocked the conference. However, she did state that the contributors did come to a general consensus that the Egyptians could not have been white in the same way that Europeans were. and the dissemination of Diop's ideas. So he had ideas that, remember I told you came interdisciplinary studies, right? This is what this man did. That the dissemination of Diop's ideas contributed to a wider recognition that before that point, they wasn't recognizing that, dog. To a wider recognition that the ancient Egyptians was an African civilization, although his methods were not considered entirely permissible by most of the experts there, the GHA historians. Yeah. Watch this. Bethel Allen Ogot, a King historian and editor of UNESCO General History of Africa, Volume 5, stated, watch this, that Shikant the Diops wrestled Egyptian civilization from the Egyptologists and restored it to the mainstream of African history. So this is what is going down in history for, ladies and gentlemen. Not saying that they was Negroid black. He didn't get that part off. Why wasn't he able to get that part off, y'all? Because race is a social construct. Because it's a stop sign that was laid down by Charles Darwin. It's a stop sign that's been laid down by science. But see, y'all can't get out of y'all way. Y'all don't really want to respect Diops. See, because this information right here, the Diops did get off, that they all admit, right, is now what modern academia say. So am I outdated? No, I'm right in course when I say that the Egyptians aren't black nor white, but they range in skin color and is a homegrown African civilization. And to that, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case. So in 1974, they started to recognize and mainstream that the Egyptians were African. This is what the experts said. And we read it. Even when they had pushback against his ideas, they all came to the conclusion that point blank, no matter how much we fought and did that, we gotta give it to them. It's an African civilization, yo. That's the point. This is what we talking about. This is what we saying. So why y'all hating? Why y'all running the stop signs? Oh, you sure? Well, I'm positive. Let me finish you off with this. Let me see. Shout out to Brother Reggie who brought this material back from the museum. We'll just do this. We'll come right here. African ancestors of Egypt and Nubia from the Green Sahara. April 30th, 2020. It's going to be there till December 2030. African ancestors of Egypt and Nubia from the Green Sahara to the Nile. Located on the African continent. Somebody tell Hawaii that. Egypt is nevertheless often perceived as being part of the Near East. Perceived. While its ties with various Near Eastern cultures in both ancient and modern times are well established, Egypt's deep African roots and profound religious, artistic, and linguistic connection to other African cultures have often been overlooked. Alternative theories regarding the origins of the pharaonic civilization, often guided by racist assumptions, we went through all that, have omitted the African context altogether and instead propose ideas ranging from invading white race to extraterrestrials. From early on, Egypt was a multicultural society with significant disparities between various regions of the country. Throughout its existence, pharaonic Egypt traded and exchanged ideas with and incorporated migrants from neighboring African populations, including Nubia, modern Sudan, Libya, Punt, likely modern Ethiopia, and numerous other cultures of ancient world. Archaeological excavations, along with anthropological and linguistic research, indicate that the Nile Valley was originally settled by nomadic peoples escaping the drying climate of the Green Sahara. Not the Middle East, not Europe, but coming out of the Green Sahara. It says the earliest inhabitants of Egypt, Nubia, and the Libyan desert produced similar types of tools, pottery, and religious imagery, pointing to their common African origin. So they're saying that Egypt, Nubia, and Libyan desert, they have a common African origin. This is at the museum. Y'all can go see it. Traditions and language of the Sahara Neolithic population largely shaped and developed the ancient Egypt and Nubia into great civilizations we know today. In fact, many traits that we once viewed as essentially Egyptian, see, this one smash dive in. This is what I've been talking about for 3 years. In fact, many traits that were once viewed as essentially Egyptian were first attested in Nubia. Where's Nubia at? And are thus rooted there. And we talk about which ones it was. And in the desert cultures to the south and west of Egypt. What's to the south and west of Egypt? The nomadic pastoralist way of life adapted. What does adapted mean? Brought into, adapted, fitted to. In Egypt and other North African cultures, ain't no Nubian types up in North Africa. I heard that for 3 years. Was first established by the most ancient Nubian peoples. Let me read this real slow. The nomadic pastoralist way of life adapted in Egypt and other North African cultures was first established by the most ancient Nubian peoples. Similarly, the shared vocabulary of Afro-Asiatic languages, Afro-Asiatic languages, which include ancient Egyptian, points to the origin of these languages to the south of Egypt. I'm going to say this real slow. See, you got people acting like Afro-Asiatic ain't real. You got a whole lot of extraordinary stuff going on here. Whole lot of nonsense. For what? Taking the victory away. I told you what the victory was. The victory is that the Nile Valley culture comes out of Sahara. That these ancient Egyptians and Nubians, whatever you range in skin color. They're indigenous Africans. Similarly, the shared vocabulary of Afro-Asiatic languages, which includes ancient Egyptian, points to the origin of these languages to the south of Egypt. Not south in Egypt, but south of Egypt. Oh, man, why did they do that? Ancient Nubian societies developed alongside and in close contact with Egypt. The two cultures mutually influence each other. They don't teach you that. Everybody's stuck on Egypt and don't even know they mutually influence each other. And shared mainly similar traditions. Until recently, however, many European and white American historians saw Nubia as Egypt's inferior neighbor. Excavations of Nubian sites in the late 12th century revealed a thriving and sophisticated culture that developed independently. I don't know. Let me see. It is close relationship with Egypt. I can't see domes. The ancient Nubia, in turn, that's come on. Why that's on there? Yeah, oh man, I'll get that. Network with Iron Age. What I can. Damn, we need to see that. West what? Hold on. Today, legacy of ancient Egypt and Nubia is evident in early elements of religion and rituals that persist in many and many ancient African cultures. Man, yo. The ancient Egyptians were an African people. Let me see. Yeah, the ancient Egyptian African culture. It said the ancient Egyptians were an African people who first appeared in the Nile Valley about 4000 BCE and created a distinctive culture. Egyptologists no longer maintain the false hypothesis that light-skinned outsiders created Egyptian culture. I keep telling y'all we got the victory. Why y'all keep muddying the whole damn thing up with race? I do not know. I just don't know. I really don't know. It's a 19th and early 20th century historians largely interpreted the archaeological evidence on the African continent through a racist filter that rejected the notion that Africans could create a high civilization. Wasn't they saying that in 1974? So how is the Cairo Symposium outdated? It's not. It's aligning with 2022 information. Today, Egyptologists, and I think Smash has brought out a lot of work of today's Egyptologists, but none of them are saying that the race of the ancient Egyptians is black, or else they pseudoscience. Today, Egyptologists have data that clearly show that the Egyptian culture was invented by indigenous people in southern Egypt and spread towards the Mediterranean. What's that word there? And spread towards the Mediterranean Sea. What about all them people talking crazy about that, huh? Who amongst you can defeat the Brooklyn Museum? About 3000 BCE, this evidence includes distinctive jars, bowls, like those to your left. The decorations on these vessels first appear in southern Egypt by 3400 BCE, and then by 3000 is found in the north. I'm going to say this real slow for all y'all that's playing the reverse game. Oh, they came in from the north and the culture went down. Man, it ain't went down nowhere. That's not to say that there aren't things that was in the north that was incorporated into it. It's not to say that. What it's saying is that the decorations on vessels first appeared in southern Egypt by 3400 BCE, and then by 3000 BCE is found in the north. Y'all don't even know how important the daggone vessels was. These jars, the pottery. That's groundbreaking during that time. Y'all think humans dove out the womb fully clothed, making pottery to hide their stores and to store their food. That's not how it happened. It's found in the north. During this period, rectangular houses, designs, watch this, from the south. So we're talking about houses from the south. Replaced the earlier oval houses in the north. So the houses in the south replaced the earlier oval houses in the north. We got the pottery, we got the houses, we got the kingship. At the same time, distinctive southern oval-shaped graves, the graves, began to appear in the north, replacing northern shadow pit graves. At the same time, distinctive southern oval-shaped graves began to appear in the north, replacing the northern shadow pit graves. A southern cult that centered on cattle worship. Where that cattle worship at, y'all? Not the Playa, oldest buried cattle statue. Centered on cattle worship was a soul transferred northward in this time period. Archaeologists cannot determine from this kind of evidence whether this cultural change was peaceful or the result of conquest. Though some evidence for fortified towns suggests conflict. Oh, they went up there banging. During the prehistoric, nomadic people traveled through present-day Egypt. The first settlers in the Nile Valley brought their language and a deep religious belief of the afterlife. It say in this period from 4,000 to 3,000, they were intensely creative, inventing hieroglyphic writing, developing a system of artistic representation, and establishing a political system centered on divine kingship. After 3,000 BCE, Nubians, Semitics, Libyans, Persians, Greeks, Romans came to Egypt through migration and conquest. All of these groups adopted and contributed to Egyptian culture. Y'all see it. It said the Egyptians defined themselves as separate from all the peoples. They perceived their differences to lie in their distinctive culture rather than in physical characteristics such as skin color. Let me read this real slow for all y'all that want to defeat the Brooklyn Museum, the curator, modern scholarship. Read this real slow for y'all. Huh.
Mm, 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 mm. Now we at the skin portion of today's lecture. Jesus Christ. The Egyptians defined themselves as a separate from all other peoples. They perceived their difference to lie in their distinctive culture rather than in physical characteristics such as skin color.
Look, man. Everybody knock it off, man. Everybody stop that, man. Everybody calm the hell down. Knock it off, man. Stop that. Stop playing. Now, I done dropped the link. I done said everything I had to say, right? You brave enough to dive up here with the mumble, jumble, bumble, then jump up with the mumble, jumble, bumble. But I ain't make none of this up. Huh. Is we still running stop signs? I don't know. Is we still going against the scientific consensus? I don't know. See, what I realize is just being African ain't enough. Having varying skin color and phenotypes ain't enough. They got to be like Diop first said they was. They was all Negro for y'all to even pay attention. But that's the piece of his argument that he completely lost. Because he was running some stop signs, remember? He was using some outdated European work. Remember that? Wild out, man. So I'm going to give y'all a chance to hit that button, man. If not, man, we can get up out of here, man. I think we did our thing, man. Yo, we sitting back and we saying what's good. Don't be chatty patty in the chatty. And look at this fool. Funny. He just wanted to get up on the screen. He just wanted to get on the screen. We ain't listening to nobody. We listening straight to the experts, right? Simple as that, yo. We not doing all that. We not doing none of that. All right. Come on, Mika, stop it. Look, we not all right. Let me show you what we're not gonna do, Mika. This is what we're not gonna do. Look, we ain't gonna do this. Look, this is what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna look at this statue right here, right? Because this is clearly a statue, right? Wooden statue. And just because you don't like the complexion of the person, say that's a foreigner. All right. This is a lightly complected African. Am I correct? All right. But we're not gonna look at her and say she an invader and she didn't see that. We're not gonna do that. We're just gonna say that's an Egyptian. Right? And leave it at that. We're gonna do the same thing with this statue right here. We're gonna say that's an Egyptian. We can clearly see the wig. Oh, there ain't no wig on. It's a wig. It's a Nubian wig. And so you already know that this person is part of some type of royal or his family got money, because that's the most expensive shit to wear in Egypt is those damn Nubian wigs. You know, like that's the hairstyle of the Magi arches right there. And these Nubian wigs, yo, cost money. You wasn't just wearing that. That's top level right there. And they ain't have a problem with wearing that. All right? But it's a statue. And we're not going to make a race out of a statue. We're just going to say that's an Egyptian. It's a Nile Valley African. It's definitely darker than this Egyptian. Nile Valley African. That's all it is. We're not going to add the extra on it. You don't got to. You don't got to make it a race. You don't got to make her a foreigner, and you don't got to make him the original. You don't got to do that. That's what you don't got to do. Nobody has to play that game. We already won. You don't got to play the game. You don't have to play the game. It's one of them old statues right here. So we can see the different colors in the wood, right? Let's see how old this statue. This statue is going back to the 6th dynasty, man. That's an old joint. Production date 2345 BCE, y'all. That's damn near 4,000 years, man. Boy, that wood's starting to crack. All right, you see the different colors on the wood. You know what I'm saying? That's what wood do. We ain't gonna sit up here and start making all kind of determinations off a 4,000-year-old statue right there. All right. It is what it is, man. Craftsmanship is good. Old statue right there. What kind of wood? That's mahogany wood, I believe. Let's see. I see they're using 2 types of woods. Yeah, sycamore fig wood. That's at the base, and the ebony. All right, single piece of ebony. Yep. Yeah. So there you have it. This statue's in good condition right there. And then we just like give thanks to Diops, man. All right, because it's tireless work, yo. Lets us beat our chests and proudly say that the Nile Valley was inhabited and the civilization was started by Indigenous Africans. And that's where his victory is. It's in the fact that he made them start studying Egypt from his African context. That he used interdisciplinary studies, and he made them recognize the Africanness of the Nile Valley inhabitants. Not that he won saying they was Negroid or black, because he didn't win that. and I'm done. Y'all can have at it. That's my thing for the year. I'm done. Yeah. Boom. Yeah, sometimes you just got to put out some good work. You know what I'm saying? Yo, somebody said you got to find a new sponsor, Nubian Wigs. What's going on, brother?
What's up, bro? Peace and love, bro.
How you doing, man? I just wanted to clear it all up. I'm done. I ain't got to talk about it no more. Nope.
I think that I missed a lot, man. I know you're getting ready to probably shut it down. I think that we come into a point now where we have to be able to accept science fully and genetics and biology. Egypt should not be based off of of what they look like racially. The population and the people that are there are African. The people of civilization is an African civilization. They don't practice old customs that their ancestors used to, just like we don't. But those people are Africans. We shouldn't get caught up in lookership, or basing things off what people look like, because that's the old standards of racism. The way society, used to push. We're pushing for science. Science isn't about color or what a group of people look like. And if anyone's dealing with biology fully and understanding human anatomy, understand human evolution, that's not enough to separate any of us as a species. We got a guy running around here saying that Neanderthals, because people have 2 to 1% of traces of it in them, that they're not human. That's a problem.
Oh, that's a real problem. And I showed him what I did. You didn't catch it early. What I showed him was Diop said that this is what he said out of his mouth, Gozy. He said that the Egyptians was all Negroes except for in Neolithic time. No, not in pre-dynastic time, some Indo-Europeans migrated in.
Right.
But he said they was all that's the shit he lost. And then the man hit him with, yo, you used outdated European anthropological studies. That shit wasn't right. And of course it wasn't right, because at that point in 1974, they had already understood race to be a social construct. It went against science. That's why I was like, nah, dog. I don't know why they can't understand it. It says it right there. It give him credit for what he did do. What he did do was recognized as African civilization. He's going to be memorialized in the museum for that. But the whole of Egypt is Negroid. They lost that bad. They were like, nah, dog. Yeah. And they showed him your sources outdated. We don't even use that model no more. They hit him with that. See, people, they didn't teach us that, Gozy. See, we had to learn it on our own, bro.
Yeah, we definitely had to learn on our own. And I think that even understanding Eurasians, the Egyptians never had Indo-European DNA in them. Even the Caucasus hunter-gatherer component that came into Egypt is late. The Levantine component isn't Indo-European. So that's why we got to be able to understand Indo-European within itself is a late language phylum that comes from people near the Black Sea, probably 4,300 years ago. So the people that back migrated into Africa who had those Eurasian components came basically damn near only from the Bronze Age Chalcolithic Eurasians. At this time, they had no clue of what direction they was going in. Egyptian civilization, regardless if people back migrated, if they didn't or whatever, they were completely African. The civilization is completely African. Ain't nobody tripping over people moving around. We shouldn't. So I don't know, man. I just think that you just got to keep busting upside their head with the science.
Oh, what I meant to do was play we like to have fun, yo. Hey, Gozy, watch this. We like to really have fun.
What's that?
We're gonna play the video. Smash Rock Wells.
What up, bro?
Rock the bells.
What's happening?
What's up with it?
How you doing, bro? How you feel, man?
Shit, I just was coming to say Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, happy
Father's
Day, man. Oh, y'all, man.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to both you guys. Peace and love.
Yeah, but I just was coming to say that. That's what's up. I'll probably go live later.
All right, bro.
Shout out to y'all. Peace.
Shout out to you, bro.
Peace, brother.
I'm gonna bring my favorite on. Here we go. Let's see what this man has to say. Let's see. Oh man, return the clip. Come on now.
M35, M81. Those people don't look like Congolese, but I'm trying to have you understand that they are carrying genealogically, in terms of their male ancestry at least, they're carrying something that ties them to the rest of the continent and does not tie them to Europe, even though physically, externally, you may say, well, gee, they look like Europeans. You understand what I'm saying? So when you ask me, when did X, we don't use those concepts of Mediterranean race, Alpine race, Nordic, all that, that's from another era. You know, it's descriptive, and in actual fact, you will find, you can find individuals all over the world who might conform to one of those sort of categories. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So then,
that's the same thing they say about being Arab. Arab is a culture, not a race. It means traveling person.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand what are you asking me here? You asked me very specifically. You asked me, when did Mediterranean people get to? I don't know what you mean by Mediterranean, but let me repeat myself. No, well, there's more than one way to be African. There's more than one way to look African. There's more than one way to look Asian. There's more than one way to be Asian. That is what you have to, from my perspective as an evolutionary biologist, that's what you have to get your arms around. The people in southern India are just as Asian as the people in northern China, who are just as Asian as the people as the people from the Eurasian steppes. You know, they don't look alike. And you measure them, they don't look alike. Yeah.
Let me put it another way. For example, you have Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra.
Okay. Well, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
When did that sort of look into Egypt?
The thing is that, number one, who's Cleopatra?
You.
Well, what I'm saying, Cleopatra was probably a Macedonian. Well, she was a Macedonian.
From near Greece.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. When did people look like that go into Egypt?
Well, I don't know about Elizabeth Taylor specifically, and you know, very specifically, but I would dare to say that within the Nile Valley, within the Nile Quarter, within super-Saharan Africa, there have always been people who were lighter skinned and straighter haired from 60,000 years ago. Always. They're not.
Yeah, nobody want to hear that. That's an evolutionary biologist. Nobody want to hear that. Nope, want to hear that. Y'all don't want to hear that.
Hey, you know that if people that got that scientific ear or who are scientifically literate pay attention to what Shamaka Keta says, he's saying the same thing that Dr. Zawi Hawass said, except one is more soulful with it and one is more direct. You ever noticed that?
No, I'm not ready to agree with you on that, go. I'm going to leave you. I have to leave you on your own with that. But I have heard him say some things that made me like he doesn't realize that Egypt is in Africa. He does, and that's my only issue with him. Is that crazy?
I think he do it, but we got to think about it. Egypt get most of their money off tourism, and I think that he's trying to, he has to pamper a certain audience to keep the revenue coming in. So if he just flat out and say, I mean, Dr. Zawi Hawass is not that damn stupid. He know that's why he say slick things like Egyptians are not nothing but Egyptians are Egyptians. But then when you listen to him, if you listen to him talk, because he makes it like Egypt is this isolated people outside of everybody else, and they're just their own. But then when you listen to him talk, he say they were dark, but they were not nigger, a negroid, and that's the same terminology that Shamaka Keta says when he said Ethio-Somali. You know, if these Africans with these aquiline features, or if we want to use the outdated term Caucasoid features, if you want to use that outdated term and as descriptive. So what I'm saying is like they kind of say the same thing. It's just one is more blunt and the other one is kind of like being nice about it. You know, Shamaka Keta just get more into the scientific detail of the diversity of Africa. These people are their own people. They're Africans, and they're something that developed within their region. Zawi Hawass is just saying Egyptians is Egyptians. They ain't got nothing to do with nobody.
Look, that man said, yo, that straight hair and light skin was in Africa. Hold on, let's go back to that. Hold on. Heard him up with the Cleopatra. Let's see.
Macedonian. Well, she was a Macedonian.
From near Greece.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. When did people look like that? Into Egypt.
Well, I don't know about Elizabeth Taylor specifically, and very specifically. But I would dare to say that within the Nile Valley, within the Nile Quarter, within super-Saharan Africa, there have always been people who were lighter skinned and straighter haired from 60,000 years ago. Always. They're not new. That's my whole point. In fact, I could make the argument that those kinds of characteristics actually originated in Africa. That they didn't come from someplace else. They're part of modern humanity, or they're part of humanity. And there's no reason to believe that they could not have originated in Africa. Incidentally, skin color can flip back and forth from an evolutionary point of view. We now know every 15,000 or so years. It's not the sort of thing that, it takes 100,000 years, million years to live in one place. And skin color itself is not always an accurate index, even in current situations like in Brazil and Venezuela. It doesn't necessarily give you a proportionate amount of ancestry. You can have people with very fair skin, but actually have more, quote unquote, black ancestors than some people who are actually darker. So you have to be very careful about what you think you can quantify from that, again, based on science evidence.
Yeah, see, he just killed everybody right there, yo. And like I said, man, it takes a certain level of nuance in studying and reading and to really hear what he was saying. 15 years ago when I first heard this, I wasn't ready yet. Took a lot of studying on evolution and stuff to really get it, because a lot of times you start to question, your blackness, right? You start to saying, well, yo, man, am I, what's wrong? You know what I mean? In reality, yo, he's giving you how the experts understand the situation based off of everything I gave y'all to get to this point. I talked about science and what it does, right? The knowledge, the wisdom, that's the highest level. He's having a high level conversation, and it busts your bubble because you stuck in racism, white supremacy, right? But once you get out of that mindset, yo, man, you love the fact that Africa is diverse. You understand humans and how they diversify. You understand evolution. You appreciate the beauty of different colored plants and flowers and different types of bees. And you man, it's beautiful. The diversity of skin color. You kind of leave those shackles back there where the Europeans put them on you, because they shackled up your brain. They got you stuck. They got you fighting against your Africanness the whole time. You think you black power, but you fighting against your Africanness includes diversity.
So I want to ask you a question, because you're a scientific guy. You follow this, you study this, you do your research.
Hard.
And I want to deal with I want to deal with chronology right now. I want to deal with time, right? Homo sapiens, we know now that it wasn't a single point of where our species developed in Africa, in the sense of this homogenous place where it was just humans just popped up in the middle of nowhere in one single point. We know that it was basically possibly three populations within different portions of Africa, and it happened multiple times to form into what we are as Homo sapiens. But I want to talk about, we went back in time based off recent data that's out. It went back in time on Old Man 1. First, they said he was 180 to 190,000 years old. Now they pushed him back all the way to 230,000 years old.
Yep,
this is what the recent studies are saying. These humans, when they first developed, would have not looked like modern people in Africa with the later adaptive traits that we receive today, based off living in open savanna, based off mixing with ghost populations, based off a lot of recent adjustments. Variations back then was high, but some of the variations was just on the cuff from what formed into us or what we come out of, compared to the later adaptive traits when we increased our variations. So let's talk about these people in North Africa, because now they found the footprint in South Africa, which showed that humans was in South Africa, our species, 150,000 years ago. 150,000 years ago, even before you have the Khoi or the later terms Khoi or Khoi San, which people look at that as being derivative, but I'm going to talk about the peopling, right? And then you got Floresbad skull that was found down there, 265,000 years old. Modern Homo sapien footprints, 150,000 years old. Bloomberg's cave, that goes back 100-something thousand years with art and pottery. These people write 160,000. Homo sapien activity. Got another pocket of people in North Africa, near Morocco, Tunisia, 150,000 years ago, called the Assyrians. These humans split somewhere. They did not have a lot of the later derived traits that we have. When you follow the Tyrian culture, the population that's responsible for drifting out of Africa seemed more closer to the Tyrian culture. They also found them Leviish tools, what they call the Nubian complex tools. Those were nothing but Eastern Tyrian people that was responsible for leaving out of Africa. The Eastern Tyrian population was also possibly, if you follow the molecular clock, responsible for giving rise to haplogroup EM96 or the YAP marker that Shamaka Kita brought up that binds all Africans together. The later downstreams out of EM96 into EP177 into EP2 or E1B1, which forms the cluster between E3A and E3B. I just want the audience to hear what's going on. The people in North Africa already they have a long time up there like the people in South Africa did, right? It's been a lot of bottlenecks. There's been a lot of adjustments. There's been a lot of adaptations. They have a long time period up there to be distinct from populations that we represent when a lot of our ancestors came from Paleo-Saharan North Africans and certain haplogroup E down there later. Early East African hunter-gatherers that crossed from East Africa through Central Africa because we see the shared mitochondrial DNA between early East Africa and Central Africa going back as early as 63,000 years ago. Then there's ghost population signature that was drifting with populations that started to go over there. And you find skulls like Alero in Nigeria, where a lot of these people or these early archaic humans that was similar to Jebel Hud skull found in Morocco is found in refugium in certain pockets of Central Africa, right? Then you got this DNA in these people lingering at 19 to 13%. What I'm trying to say is that Africa got that much time to be diverse, that much time to be unique. And even if you follow it for real, the most mixed Africans, why people trying to insult people, are probably Western Central Africans. Don't look at it as a skin thing because we share the same skin for populations that stayed in open savanna for thousands of years. Because if we follow the skin map gives us a good idea of what population should be like based off the reflections or whatever that we spoke of when we go backwards and forward. A lot of traits that the population that we descend from is later derived. Our subclades of E is later derived. A lot of the traits that we have with the Petrula mandibula is later derived. They didn't look like the earliest populations. So the North African and the Khoisan, even if you look at the skin range with Homo sapiens that dispersed out of Africa and look at the populations with the Khoisan outside of the SLC 245 that came back from Cushitic pastoralists who received it from later Neolithic Libertine populations that merged with them and accumulated those traits and then sent it south. Western Central African has a lot of later derived traits. That's much later than the populations that we call immigrants, foreigners, and different things. And we really should look into that, look at the timeline and follow these mutations to get a good idea of what is what. How do you feel about that, Ankh?
Nigga, shit, I gotta listen to that shit. You said a lot of shit. I guess your basic synopsis was that the people in Western Central Africa will be more diverse in the population in North Africa. That's what I got out of that. Is that what you was trying to say?
Right. What I'm saying is that Western Central Africans, like when somebody say the true African is black.
Oh yeah, that was just crazy.
That's a pseudo statement because Western Central Africans have a lot of later derived traits. Not to mention they represent a combined situation. They represent a bunch of ancient mixes from different populations a very long time ago, right?
Yeah, they slide into the multi-regional inside of Africa joint.
Exactly. The North Africans represent a very old population. Not to mention that the people that left out of Africa through Northeast Africa, probably through Egypt, a very long time ago, probably the successful out of Africa migration, because it was two of them that wasn't successful. But it was a successful one that occurs out of mtDNA-N and Y chromosome CTM168 that occurred 65,000 to 70,000 years ago that most Homo sapiens today are remnants of. The small population that leaked out and became the populations outside of Africa that has less genetic variations, people outside of Africa, there was a lot of bottlenecks compared to the populations that's out there now. That's why if you notice, most Eurasians have, even if they have distinction to their feature, it's very similar compared to the diversity of the populations in Africa. So what I'm trying to say is that follow the variations, follow the mutations. The people in North Africa already had a distinct look. And the people that back migrated was already connected to the Middle Stone Age Africans that drifted out of there, more closer than population south. So people got to understand what Ngozi argument is. What Ngozi argument is that modern North Africans, regardless of what they look like, are just as African and maybe much older than populations in sub-Saharan Africa, even though the sub-Saharan Africans have old components too, but it's new situations because it's new combined situations that may be much younger than the combined situations that occur in North Africa. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yep, I hear you loud and clear, yo.
So what I'm saying is the true African is not black skin color. Africa is not bound to skin color. And when we think like that, that's low-key white supremacy. When you think based off skin.
Yeah, they mess it up. Yeah, that's crazy. Let me do this commercial though.
Go ahead.
Hey, Google Scholar, how you doing, Google Scholar? What's up with you?
Peace. How you doing?
How you doing, bro? Let me do this commercial and get right to you, man. Is Kemetic priesthood the prototype of the Levitical priesthood? We're gonna find out real soon. That's coming up next week, y'all. Right? That's on the 24th, man. Get your tickets, man. Get them while they hot, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Welcome to the big leagues, man. This is another production right here, bro. Sister Christina and Sister Nepal, man. They've been sword fighting. Now it's time to get in the ring. We're gonna put them in there. We're gonna close the door, yo. Gonna throw that moderator on them. And it's going down, man. So if you ain't got your tickets, man, they're going hot, man. I appreciate that support in that, man. It's going. Make sure y'all do that, man. Man, moderators, put them links in there, man. And let's get ready to go ahead and do that thing, man. Y'all know what it is, man. What's going on, Google Scholar, man? What you think about what you heard,
much.
bro?
I was just listening. I wanted to come on and say something when I get a chance.
Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Yeah. So peace and Gozi. What I was thinking about, because I've been hearing it quite a few times now, and I guess I didn't want to do it without Reggie present, but he's not here. But I'm just gonna go and say what I'm saying about it. It's and Ngozi just mentioned it too about Dr. Awas saying that Egypt is not in Africa. I looked at Reggie's petition and I tracked down the video that Dr. Awas was speaking about. I watched the entire thing, and given the context of what he was saying, I don't think he was saying that Egypt is not in Africa. I think it's a misunderstanding. And what I gather from what he was saying, he was trying to push back on people who are saying are suggesting that the foundations of Egypt are from elsewhere in Africa, and so he's saying no. He's disagreeing. He's saying no. Egypt, the foundation of Egypt is not in Africa. It's right here in Egypt. That's what I got from what he was saying. Now I'm not a genius or anything, so I could be wrong. But listening to it in context, that's what I got. He was saying, and I've been hearing people running with the idea. I even on this channel, I see people making fun of Dr. Awas, saying he probably got a certificate and not a doctorate, and
What?
yeah, because he's saying Egypt is not in Africa, and so listening it in context, I don't think he's saying that Egypt is not on the continent of Africa. He was just pushing back against people saying that the foundations of Egypt are from elsewhere in Africa. He's saying no, it's not. Egypt is the foundations of Egypt is not in Africa. It's right here.
Right. He
And
says,
that's what,
yes, he says Egyptians are Egyptians. He doesn't put
yeah.
them in Europe. He doesn't put them nowhere. And he also starts only, if you hear him talk, in a Nakata period. He talks about the Nakata and what
Yeah.
Windroff said. That's what he
Yeah.
starts off there.
So that was the main thing I wanted to see if you guys could go back and try to look at it and see if what I'm saying makes any kind of sense in terms of that. And the second thing is I feel like you can disagree with Dr. Awas. You can even probably think you're allowed to think that
Oh,
maybe
okay, I'm gonna do this. Let me
he
just do
knows
this.
better.
I like to pull this up though. Hold on.
Mhm.
Yeah, we could just do this. We can get right to it. I don't gotta pull up the video evidence on it. Let me just screen share this. It's an interview he actually did. Maybe he misspoke. Okay. So we can actually look at the interview right here. This interview, it's on the Hawaus. Okay. Daily News. Claims that the ancient Egyptians were black is untrue. Okay. Let's see. Okay. It says speaking to the Daily News. Look, in an Egyptian interview. So in Egypt, Hawass noted that there is, however, evidence of the Kushites who ruled Egypt during the 25th dynasty. He noted that it is from this period that the belief of the ancient Egyptians' black African origins grew. Okay. It goes on to say, let's come down here. It says, if you look at ancient Egypt, there are two theories, with one theory being that their origins was either from Semites descended from Shem, son of Noah, or Hamites descended from Ham, son of Noah. It says with input from Palestine and from Africa based on the faces of people from the Delta and Upper Egypt, he explained. It says he explained that Diops is the one who really pushed the Afrocentric theory that the origin of ancient Egyptians was black. Well, we read that. He said they was Negroes. He said that, right? Goes on to say, we believe that the origin of ancient Egyptians was purely Egyptian based on the discoveries made by the British Egyptologist Flinders Peachtree at Akkada. And this is why the ancient Egyptian civilizations did not occur in Africa. It occurs only here, Hawal said. Now, that statement don't make no sense to me. But let me finish. Notably, the claim that the ancient Egyptians had black skin, has become a cornerstone of Afrocentric historiography. It says mainstream scholars hold that Kemet, a word frequently used in ancient Egypt, means black land or black place. It refers to the fertile black soil that was washed down from Central Africa by annual river Nile enunciation. First of all, a lot of going on here, man.
Yes.
Lot of, yeah, like that's
Yeah.
not what the symposium said, right? And that's not what the Brooklyn Museum said. So that's why I don't know why y'all don't just spend a stack and go have that affluent, high level I know I could have a great conversation with Hawaus. And I would understand my lane. I would understand the basic conversation with them. Just explain to me how modern anthropology, all scholarship for the most part, say that Nile Valley Africans are indigenous Africans, and then explain to me why you feel like you're not that. See, I just get straight to it. All that using race baiting terminology and this, that, and the other, and ain't no come on, dog. Like that's how the conversation should go. It shouldn't go that they was black. No, because ain't gonna run to the Egyptians. He gonna run to the gang, but again, I don't understand how he just don't understand that Egypt ain't in Africa. I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. The Eastern mind is different than the Western mind, how we think. And I think when I hear him speak, when he think of African, instead of him just saying Negroid or Congoid population, African, he's thinking of African in that way. He's not thinking of African in a way that this is the whole global continent, because the way they think over there is distinct. Egyptians are Egyptians. They are indigenous to that portion of Africa. But I think that when he speaks that way, we know for a fact that the 25th dynasty was bona fide black Africans, right? They were.
I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that, Gozy.
I mean, that's what.
Because the 25th dynasty is bona fide black Egyptians. Who the hell is the other damn Egyptians?
Well, the other Egyptians range in skin color, and they look the way they look. They can range. They can range from light to dark. Phenotypically they had a distinct look. I wasn't there, but looking at like the skulls or listening to the Petrie God and looking at the skulls, the Egyptians had a typical look compared to the population in Sudan and morphology. Some of the Sudanese can look like that. Some of the Sudanese look strongly Nilotic. Like it's a guy right here, right now. He says that Ngozi says on my what's the name, my Twitter, that the black Africans were immigrants. No, that's not what I say. Egyptians always had different colors or ranges of brown. I said that the Nilotic population came in late because you got to think about it. There was a lot of people in Egypt before even dynastic Egypt. What I mean by that is you have Natufian-like signals back migrating over there. You have Paleo-Saharan power.
You went
Phone
out.
up. So on the screen, we have the quote unquote Nilotic Nubian population.
Comorusians.
Okay. And what we see here,
And
you
then,
see the
right,
screen, right?
But then
See the screen, right?
yeah, I can see it. Yes,
They range in their skin color.
they range it right. Those are different ranges of. And
Phone went out. Yeah, I just wouldn't call it 25th dynasty the Black Dynasty. I think that fake you out. I think it's the same thing when Diop's called the Egyptians
anyway,
Negroid.
like a Somali do. This is the coin where they clerk the term Caucasoid, even though we know the term could be classified as outdated in anthropology, but they already have a similar morphology and skull type compared to the Nilotes.
So let me ask you this. How you go from being scientific, Gozy, and then jump to the 25th dynasty and get unscientific and run the stop sign of race?
No. What I'm trying to say,
you get my point though, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to. From when I listen to Zawi Hawass, I feel that what he's saying or trying to say, because he don't think from the angle that we think of. They're like scientifically, I don't even know where they are or where they stand. But what I'm saying is,
he got a doctorate degree, yo. He's a damn Egyptologist. I'm not giving that man no damn excuses for that. What I will say is he live around people, so he just can't say certain things.
I mean, he got to pay. He has to pander to a certain audience.
Yeah, I get that part, but I don't know. I'm just saying, based off of his degree in Pennsylvania, Penn, like, bro, there's some things you can't say to be an expert, and that's definitely one of them. I'm not gonna let him off. I don't care who the hell he pandering to. That's the case. We over here, people over here pandering to black people. I'm not the pandering guy, so I call it like I see it. No, the 25th dynasty ain't black, and no, the damn Egyptians ain't black. They homegrown indigenous African, ranging skin color, and I'm showing you right here how they range in skin color.
Right, but let me just say this.
I'm just saying that's just my point. I'm gonna stick. That's my point.
And I'm not knocking you for that. You're correct, but we have to. What I'm trying to say is, outside of Algeria, before Sudan, Northern Sudan, and Southern Sudan split, Sudan was the largest country in Africa before the split. Now it's Algeria. Sudan had different populations there anyway. What I mean is that you had Nilotic people there. The Noba language is the modern Noba language comes from the Mahas population who kind of like came in 2,500 years ago. And now they speak a Naban language. After that, they had the Meroitic language. They questioned if the Meroitic language was Nilo-Saharan or Afro-Asiatic. You have the Bija people who were the Magi, who speak a Cushitic Afro-Asiatic language. What I'm saying is that within Sudan itself, it was very diverse. Compared to Egypt, they had a continuity in a straight language phylum, which is Afro-Asiatic, which was the language that they spoke. And the only thing that we have closest to that, and Brother Smash can elaborate on it because he deals with linguistics, but from my studies, the only thing that we have close to that today in Egypt is the Coptic language. But Sudan, you'll find a person over here that speaks Afro-Asiatic Cushitic, then you got the Naman language. So what I'm trying to say is that when you look up the skull that was reconstructed in Wadi Hafla, I think that's what it's called. That man was a Nilo, right? But then when you look at Nazlet Carter, that goes back 35,000 years, this is even before the population of Nilos even exists. They already had their own clusters. So what I'm saying is they were the Nubians, or that they did expand Egypt. I'm going to say what I'm saying in an organized manner so I don't sound pseudo. What I'm trying to say is that Egypt expanded its territory, and certain portions of Sudan was part of Egyptian expanded territory. But what I'm also saying is that they also had other populations that drifted in and out. So Nilos found their way there, but we're not going to denounce the other surrounding population as if it wasn't a distinct other surrounding population that was there. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just saying Hawal's got a doctorate fucking degree, and he's supposed to know He's supposed to know the goddamn consensus and shut the hell up when it comes to that.
I
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't.
All that is crazy.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Okay.
really. I don't think he's really scientifically literate in that field like that.
How? He an Egyptologist, yo. The scholarship on it now.
But he,
I got a book.
But he got to promote Egyptians as Egyptians.
No,
you know,
I get that, but I'm not trying to hear that though.
Right.
I'm just making a point. I get that. I get it. But that's why I would like to spend a stack and have a conversation with him, bro. Like, I know they on your head for other shit. I get it. But go ahead, bro. I just wanted to show y'all somebody, right? Look how brown this person is.
Yeah, no.
North Asia tune.
You know,
that ain't what you want.
a lot of things you said I agree with, and let me be the first to say I do think Awas do harbor some biases, and if memory serves me correct, he currently works for the government of Egypt, so his angle might be a little bit bent toward that area, if you get what I'm saying.
Okay.
My point though is I still see people in the chat repeating it that he's saying Egypt is not in Africa, meaning it's not on the African continent, and I believe that is a bit of misinformation. I don't think that's his position, and if you feel that that's his position,
I know. I just read the interview. There's an interview. It's in Egypt. They interviewed him. He probably was scared to death.
No. If you pull it back up and look at it, I wanted you to zoom in on a particular paragraph where he was saying that.
Because what it looked like he was trying to say. He's trying to say Egyptians as Egyptians. They're not, and I think his mindset of African. He low key.
You know, I don't want to hear
Let's put that back a minute, Ankh, and let's.
I am. Let's go. Go ahead. Come on. I'm willing to admit, but I don't think I missed it that damn bad. Hold on. Let me see. It's possible. What'd you say? Here you go.
Yeah.
All right. So we can admit that right here.
Okay.
Yo, Eugene, hold on. Right here. He messing up now because he ran the stop sign.
Yeah, well, that's not where I go up. Yeah.
Right, 25th Dynasty. He said that's what the group. Okay, where you want to go at?
Yeah, below that. I'm not disputing that part about the 25th Dynasty.
Okay,
go below that.
All right, right here, Diop. He explained.
Yes, that one.
Go
if
ahead.
we look at.
All right, go ahead.
No, not. I'm sorry. That's not the part.
Right here.
Yes, right there.
All right,
we believe. We believe.
Right, go ahead. Read it.
All right, it says we believe that the origin of ancient Egyptians was purely Egyptian based. It was purely Egyptian based on the discovery made by British Egyptologist Flinders Petrie at Nakada. And this is why ancient Egyptian civilization did not occur in Africa. It occurred only here. So what he's saying is ancient Egyptian civilization did not occur the rest of Africa. It occurred only here in Egypt, because you read at the beginning that the interview is taking place in Egypt, right? So he's saying that the civilization and the culture occurred there. It didn't come from other parts of Africa like some people are suggesting. I'm not saying he's right or wrong about that, because I don't know. But I'm saying that's what he's saying.
What do you mean the other part of the interview is not talking about it being somewhere else, though? What you talking about? I'm saying on this interview right here.
No, I'm saying this interview that you're reading, it took place in Egypt. At the top of it, yes. So when he says it occurred here, he's saying it occurred in Egypt here and not in the rest of Africa. That's all he's saying.
Yeah, but he got to say that. He can't say it the way he said it.
He got he got to say it like that. I get what he's trying to say, and when he gets
what? Oh, y'all smarter than me on this one, yo. Fuck it, I ain't budging on that. I ain't giving a pass on that one.
I agree with you, firm.
Yeah, yo.
Egypt. Hold on. Here's the thing. Egypt is Africa. He should have said that, but.
In this part of Africa, would have been safe to say. He said, we believe that the origin of ancient Egyptians is purely Egyptian.
Yeah, but that's
what the hell that mean? That's a non-scientific statement. The hell that mean?
That's how you know if you
based on the discovery made by the British Egyptologist Flinders Petrie, who made a wild ass map. So we definitely ain't listening to him. I'm gonna
right, but see that. But listen,
hold on, I'm gonna show y'all the wild map the man made. Hold on,
but that's
we
how
definitely
you
not listening to him.
But that's how you know
Oh
If you
man.
listen to him, he's trying to pander to, because he know the Egyptians are Egyptians, and he know that Egypt is
Oh
part of
man.
that of Africa.
Oh
But
wow.
but he's low key speaking. It seems very blurred. He's not direct. So he should have said what he should have said. You're right. Egyptians started in this portion of Africa and no other part of Africa. But
Right. The hell you talking about?
but the undertone of what he's saying, the undertone of what he's saying, trying to say but not saying it directly. The Egyptians are these type of people. They're not those niggers from the tropical Africa. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
that's
right, here you go. Who is this? Oh, this breasted. This breasted Matt.
Mhm.
Look at breasted Matt. Damn. Come on, breasted. Remember? They go breasted Matt. Look how wild. They just wild out, yo. See?
Ooh.
Breasted. It says the Atlantic Ocean, the Arctic. Look, the great northern lands, Nordic type of the great white race. I mean, that's that Hitler stuff right there. Right? So, okay. Then he
That
comes to the highland zone. Look, the Alpine type, all right, of the great northern race. Okay. Then you got the Mediterranean. Then underneath the Mediterranean, you got the Mediterranean, the great white race. All right. Then underneath that, you got what they consider the southern race. All right, the black race. Then on the side, you got the Mongol race or yellow race. Yeah, yo, so they took the whole Egypt and took the whole Mediterranean and they did that. That was the map.
that was from Petrie?
No, it wasn't.
Uh-uh.
It's from
Okay.
Breasted.
Okay.
Peachtree was tripping too. We just go read his stuff. He was tripping. Let me see. Ah man, I can pull that up. Maybe Smash will pull it up. I ain't have it ready. But the point is, man, all right, if y'all, I'm reading what I'm reading. Y'all saying I go with more or less and goes. He's saying, yo, he can't say it. I don't know what you see, Google Scholar. You got me on that one, bro.
Yeah.
You
No,
think
I don't say you have to agree with me. I'm just
yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah, of course.
But
I think
also
you're right.
if you're gonna do a petition, you have to
Oh
be
yeah, that's
clear.
crazy. I do all that.
Yeah, you have to be clear because I don't think at least you should try to get him to clarify via email or something, right?
Yeah. I think they do that. What you mean? Because I ain't got them
I,
thinking
I,
that. Like,
you know, I get what Reggie's saying, but I also understand because people saying now that Ngozie's rooting for light. No, it's not about light skin or dark skin with me. You have Egyptians darker than me. I'm not denying darker. I don't care about skin. That's my thing. Like y'all thinking Ngozie, I'm not a blackologist. An African is an African to me. So don't think because I'm speaking like, you know, I'm saying that the people that's there has always been there and their skin has always ranged. I'm not a skinologist. I don't care about what their skin color is. So stop saying that I'm only rooting for light skinned people. I'm not. That don't even make sense.
you
I'm just
got
saying.
stuff.
I'm just saying it. Just like when we see a Somali, we know a Somali. When we see a Habesha Ethiopian, we know them. They have a distinct look. When we see a person from Morocco, we know them. When we see Egyptian, we know them. When you see a person that's typically from the places that we descend from, even though they can be diverse, we still kind of know them. We know them. I think that Black Africa or people that we come from directly have more diversity in morphology than populations outside. Because when you look at a Horner, you know a Horner. You can't say that you don't know a Somali when you see him. You can't say you don't know an Ethiopian or a Habesha speaker or a Romo speaker when you see him. You can't say that you don't know a person that's a Kabili Amazik from Tunisia or Algeria or wherever they're from, that they don't have a distinct look. The Egyptians had a distinct look. When you see a person from North Sudan, you can tell a person from North Sudan and South Sudan. I don't know what the problem is. I really don't.
So here's let me see. Famous Peachtree, controversial founder of archaeologists. It says, what was the scandal? Phineas Peachtree, Fielders Peachtree was one of a great many scientific people who embraced the study of eugenics, defined in dictionary as the science of improving population by controlling breeding to increase the occurrence of desirable heritable characteristics. It say it was what we now would term a pseudoscience, with the word originally being defined by Sir Francis Galton, okay, the English polymath explorer an anthropologist who was the cousin of Charles Darwin. Galton himself defined eugenics in 1908 as a study of agencies under social control. Anyway, so yeah, that's something to look into. But you know what I'm saying? That wouldn't have to. Let me see. He was also overt racist. All right. Yeah, we know it. Though through the term was not widely used, believing that the ancient Egyptian culture had derived from white Caucasian sources rather than black Africans. It said his racism was also glossed over back then, but not now. So, you know, I'm pretty sure if we read his wishmacomic, right? Let's see here real quick. You know, I like to just protogenetic, early life development. Let's see real fast. Latin collapsed, right? Academic career. Sold a large collection of Egyptian antiquities, archaeology, mental capacity. Finished peace trees, contributing interesting experiments and hundreds of objects to nature informed me that he habitually works out sums by aid an imaginary sliding rule, which he sets the desired and read. It said he does not usually visualize the whole rule, but usually that part of which is something. It say, I think this is one of the most striking causes, the accurate visualization power impossible to imagine. Francis Galton. Oh, he was talking about Francis Galton was talking about him. I think I seen a lecture where they was definitely putting them in the categories of races. I just want to see if I can see it. But what does that mean? Well, he definitely was digging.
Put the Egyptians in different races.
Trying to see. I don't want to just dive out there. I want to get something solid. Yeah, I like to get something solid. Yeah, I need to find something real solid to really put that in the air for y'all. Yeah, because I think today I did a pretty good job of showing y'all people who just were straight out racist, who wasn't, who was. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, this is what we're gonna do. All right, we got what we want now. Now we can go ahead and we can go ahead and get this to the people. So we right here. All right, here you go. Share the screen. All right, and we can actually see this is his Wikipedia page, right? Found his peace tree. All right, we come right here to this. It says racist views. Peachtree remains controversial for his pro-eugenics racial views and was dedicated believer in the superiority of the northern peoples over the latent and southern peoples. In his 1906 sociological series, Questions of the Day, he expressed his far-right views of racial views, ascribing social problems of England to racial degeneration brought on by communism, trade union, and government assistance to people groups. He
Sound like
found
he's a Republican.
these racial rules spilled over into his academic opinions, believing that society is the product of racial biology. Yeah, man. He contended that the culture of ancient Egypt was derived from an invading Caucasian dynastic race. Yeah, that's right. Damn. There you go. He the one came up with the dynastic race. It say which had entered Egypt from the south in the late. That's why he wild for that, yo. So all the evidence say, listen to this, y'all. All the evidence say that the culture entered in from the south. He just said they was white. Let me read this again. That's wild. He contended that the culture of ancient Egypt was derived from an invading Caucasian dynastic race, which had entered Egypt from the south in the late pre-dynastic time, conquered the inferior, enthused mulatto natives, and slowly introduced a higher dynastic civilization as it interbred with them. It say Petrie engaged in the first controversies with the British Museum Egyptologist experts Wallace Birds, who contended that the religion of the Egyptians was not introduced by invaders, but was essentially identical to that of the people in Northeast and Central Africa. However, most of their colleagues judge Petrie's opinion to be more scientific. There you have it. Yeah, so yeah, don't believe him, Hawaus. So there you go, yo. We got him on tape. There you go. So what you think about that?
No, I definitely think he was a racist.
Yeah,
Petrie.
he was wild.
Yeah.
He was out there. He was wild. Oh, the link is right here, man. I've been putting the link in there. Y'all ain't gonna jump on the damn link.
James trying to holler at you.
No, he not. You know how long I done put the link in there?
Yeah, he trying to say you scared of him or something.
Nah, man, come on, yo. Y'all wild out, man. Y'all wild.
James got some 1970s paper for you on
Nah,
there.
man. Shout out to the community skeptics, man. I don't know, but what you think? I thought it was a pretty good. I don't see nobody getting around what I said today.
What about the Egyptians and their makeup?
No, just about Diop and what he said. The party won, the party he lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he was wrong about a lot of stuff. The only thing, you actually said you disagreed with him about the Egyptians being Negroes. So yeah.
I think again, that's what makes me think that Zawi Hawass is pandering a certain audience, because Flinders Petrie already been debunked by multiple people. It's outdated. It's outdated. So I think that he's pandering to a specific audience. That man know that Egypt is Africa, but I also think there's an undertone that they wasn't the tropical Africans. They wasn't the nigger South.
Yeah,
that's what I think he's trying to say.
It's Africa, but not the other part of Africa.
Yeah, but
don't
keep
making excuses. Anyway, I ain't gonna be here long. Let me peace.
Go ahead, get him, James. Get him on that, James. You know I'm with you on that part, James.
No, I'm not even talking to Ngozi, because Ngozi is a trip. He don't. I don't know what's going on. But either which way it go, let me ask you. I'm asking you a question. So are you saying?
But I'm saying.
Are you saying that all Africans have Neanderthal DNA? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say that again. You mad because I said that? Yes, they do. They have traces
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to calm down. But
we was supposed to finish our fight.
Okay, you want to ask? Okay, hold on. He wanted to.
He
hold on. He
wanted
to jump in and say.
2005.
Okay. Watch this. And go.
I want to. No, hold on. I want to finish. I want to finish our fight.
I'm asking you a question.
Go ahead.
So you ain't see. Don't.
No, go ahead.
All Africans. Hold on. I'm gonna ask you the question since you done jumped in trying to save Do all
I can't save him.
Don't. Do
go ahead.
Why you keep cutting me off? Do all Africans have Neanderthal DNA? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
But the people that you come from, the people you come from do. How about that?
So hold on. I didn't have people. Hold on, guys. Check this out. That's cool. Because I didn't have people arguing with me for the last week that they got all the Africans got Neanderthal DNA. You know that?
No, I wouldn't say that. The Nilotic people don't have it. I didn't know that, but the Nilotic,
I would say most.
Those beautiful Nilotic
I would say
people,
most based off the sources.
Hold on, let me just say this. Those beautiful.
Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Hold on. Before you go in, listen.
This gonna kill everything. Hold on.
I want to ask you a question.
Just give me a second. I'm finna bounce. I promise you. I'm finna bounce out after this last question.
Can I finish?
So you go hit him.
I can't finish.
You asked me to hit him and run.
What kind of colored
let me
move is
get up
that?
out of here. I just got a couple of questions.
No, you gotta run.
I promise you. Y'all can
You
talk
don't
about
want
this all y'all want to after I leave.
Of course you're gonna run.
Hold on. Let me ask you.
You're supposed to pull up your source and defend it. What do you mean?
I don't have to pull it up. Do any Africans have Denisovan DNA?
No.
Not that I know of.
So there you go. I'm out. That's all I needed to know.
What's that?
That's a gotcha?
Hey, he crazy. But look, first of all,
All right, let's get him. Let me show you. Let's get him out of here. Look. Here we're gonna
before you go in, let me just say this: the Nilotic people, those Nilo-Saharan speakers in South Sudan, They don't have any traces. They don't have that ghost population signature that we have. And there is no traces of Neanderthal DNA unless they received it from some Cushitic pastoralists or populations that drifted over there from West Africa. But most of them do not have that at all. They don't have the ghost population signature or the Neanderthal signature. So if you want to look at a person that represents our species highly, you can't even use the Khoisan, because Khoisan received a lot of signals from pastoralists from the north. But that's another story. But if you want to look at some people, look at the beautiful Nilotic people. The people that you find in the model industry with the long tropical limb proportions, beautiful dark skin. They ain't got none of that. But the people you come from, they had traces of that in them, plus the ghost population signatures. So there you go.
So here we go. We got Neanderthal and Denisovan mixture. Neanderthal Homo sapien admixture with Denisovan. That's that triangle right there. Look at the key. So wherever you find a triangle, that's where that mixing took place. So that's in Asia. What do you say? Western Asia?
Well, that's more central.
Central?
Yeah, that's kind of central.
All right, well, that's where it's at. And then down here in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then you look at the Neanderthal admixture.
It's in the Levant and in Eastern Europe.
And then they know now they know that they came back, migrated in here, and mixed with other Africans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I don't know his point. I don't know he ran out doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, because he had to do that because he know he was going to get destroyed, so he had to do that.
He ran out with the quickness. He was killing it. Man, funny. Let me get out. Okay, time to go. That's funny. Anyway, man, I think I've been here long enough, man. 188 people in the building, man. Let me see. I don't think they were originally light skinned. Man, y'all don't know what the original. Hold on, let me play this, man. Hold on, man.
Hey, before you go in, the original Homo sapiens wasn't that dark either. That's a lot. That's later derived, but that's another story.
Oh, I didn't say nothing about no dog. I didn't say nothing. I didn't go in on that.
I thought that guy was trying to say, because he's talking about they wasn't light, because there's a lot of stuff to humans that we see.
Khoisan is the oldest people, and they light.
Yeah. Although they do have admixture.
The Nama clan do in the north. That mixed with the pastoralists. Correct.
Yeah, yo, but let me see. NPR. Let me see. NPR. Okay, here we go. We're gonna play some NPR real quick. That's what we're about to do.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Sierra Nevada Brew.
Hold on. You can hear that?
Yeah, I heard it. I'm not hearing it anymore. It stopped. So somebody said the Sandaway are older. Is that true, Ngozi?
You said they said what, brother?
The Sandaway are older than the Khoisan.
They're around the same age. The Sandawe is very old people too. The Hadza is second behind, and the Khoisan is also old. I don't like to call them that the Khoi because they have a story when the San got there after the Khoi.
Okay.
So all right, let me play this for y'all.
Yeah, go ahead.
Play this for y'all. The audio. Here we go.
Now for a look at the science of skin color. Whatever your skin color, and even if you think your family has been that color for a long, long time, NPR science correspondent Robert Krowich has some news for you.
According to Penn State anthropologist Nina Jablonski, it now appears that most humans on our planet come from families that, if you go back not that many generations,
almost all of us were in a different place and we had a different color.
You may be as white as milk today or as black as deep chocolate, and yet your direct ancestors, and not because of intermarriage, as recently as 100 generations ago, and that's not far back.
No, it's not far. Really, it isn't far at all.
Your direct ancestors could have had a very different color than you.
Our original estimates were that this occurred perhaps at a more stately pace, but now we think that that process of change may have had to occur much more quickly.
And here's why. As everybody knows,
humans started in Africa.
The part of Africa near the equator where it's intensely sunny, lots and lots of ultraviolet light. which was a problem because ultraviolet light not only can cause sunburn, when you get too much of it,
your connective tissues will break down and get very saggy and wrinkly, but perhaps even more importantly, the UV radiation will cause skin cancer.
And skin cancer can sometimes kill you. On the other hand, if a human is plopped down, say, in Norway, where the days can be very short and there's precious little ultraviolet light, then you discover there's a benefit to UV light.
And that is that it helps to initiate the process of producing vitamin D in the skin.
So she talking about the skin. She's the lady that we talk about that actually put forth the theory on why humans have diverse skin color. So Diop didn't have access to this because the theory wasn't in play yet until 1998. All right. And this is when she publishes her work. All right.
Vitamin D helps us absorb calcium, and we need calcium to build a skeleton, to maintain a strong immune system, and for a host
There's a bit of an echo.
body.
So back when our earliest hominid ancestors were walking around Central Africa, in order to survive, we had to figure out a way to screen ultraviolet light so we didn't die of cancer. But when humans then start to move away from the equator, then we had to get enough UV to build bones, stay healthy.
This is where evolution absolutely is at its peak.
Because humans need skin that could adjust to changes in light, and so nature provided, says Nina.
An absolutely remarkable pigment called melanin.
Melanin is produced by genes
to balance the need to have sunscreen built in versus the.
So they call it built-in sunscreen. Y'all call it super melanin, superhumans, and all that nonsense. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Need to be able to still produce some vitamin D in the skin. So it's a really cool molecule.
And how does this molecule change skin color? Well, Darwin teaches that these things begin randomly. Somebody at some point had a baby, and that baby just by chance has a little change in its DNA, which makes the baby's skin, let's say, a little lighter. So now, when that baby moves north to Europe as a grown-up, her light skin is an advantage because it helps her stay stronger, gives her more vitamin D, and so, says Nina,
as they moved slowly northward, those generally that had the lighter pigmentation would have survived and reproduced preferentially.
Meaning lighter-skinned people start to produce more babies.
So they're explaining evolution to y'all. Remember, evolution takes place in the population, not in the individual. I say again, evolution does not take place in the individual. It takes place in the population. It's important to understand this. This is the whole conversation about Darwin, about the 25th dynasty, and the racism and all that stuff. I keep saying, stop running the stop signs. Understand what she's saying. All right? That is important.
Skin people.
That's really the bottom line.
Producing more babies means you can survive as a group, and the further north you go, the better it is to have lighter skin.
Because by the time you get to Lapland, boy, there's precious little UV in the sunshine, and there's precious little sunshine during the whole year.
And that is why, as you approach the Arctic, you do find more and more light-skinned people.
And so this, in short, really creates the gradation of skin color that we see in modern humans today.
And I didn't know this, but there are also instances of lighter groups turning darker over time.
The people now living in southern parts of India are extremely darkly pigmented.
But once.
So I know y'all heard that light people can get dark. See, that's a vicious game we play when we play this whole skin color thing. Interesting.
Time those same people lived in Central Asia, and up north there, they were much lighter until they moved south, where new evidence suggests
they re-evolved dark pigment.
And they're not the only ones. Aboriginal Australians may have gone from light to dark. Pacific Islanders, the same.
There's probably been a redarkening of several different groups of humans.
How?
Remember when
Here.
Shamaka Keita talked about polytopicity, or
Of
which
course,
is
that's it. He was talking about that right
he's
there.
talking about that, or throwback polymorphisms,
Mm-hmm.
multiple morphisms, mutations. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. So a lot of
Yep.
people went from light to dark. Skin color can go backwards and forward. So that's why I don't get caught up in skin. It's
Yeah,
pseudo.
you pseudo. All right, let me finish this. Absolutely good point.
Great grandpas and grandmas.
Oh, but I have their genetic photograph.
Meaning scientists have now studied the genes, the DNA of populations all over the world.
What we can do in modern humans is isolate the genes that are responsible for pigmentation in most groups, and then, knowing the position of these genes in the genome, look at the pieces of DNA that we have isolated from some ancient ancestors and see how they compare.
And by comparing DNA in ancient samples, they can very closely estimate when changes take place.
You can look backwards and see different generations of different colors. It's just phenomenal. But let's take that even farther.
If you assume that each generation lasts 25 years, say give or take,
Yes.
it turns out that if a group of people keeps moving north or south to find food or to avoid enemies, to keep moving, that group needs to keep changing color at a remarkable pace.
We might be thinking, let's say, 50 to 100 generations.
Wait. 50 to 100 generations? That's...
Yeah, it kind of blew your bubble right there. 50 to 100 generations. Yeah, y'all might be looking at a population saying, yo, they too like to be Egyptians. They could have been darker. That's funny. Wow. Yeah, we got to stop this, man. We got to relax, man. We got to really chill out with all that, man. At a certain point, yo, we either going to learn, yo, or we not. 50 generations. How long is that? 4,000 years? 5,000, 7,000? What? It's wild. So basically, those people in those areas could have been darker, and by the time you see it in the day, it could be light, huh? Man, interesting. Let's finish it off.
Times 25, that's 2,500 years. You're saying that in 2,500 years, a lineage, a family group can go from being black to being white or back the other way? I mean, that is lightning fast.
Let's see, 2,500 years. Let me see, 4,000, 6,000 BC. Now the pliers is 6,000, 2, 4, 6. So you got 2,000 years, 3 times. Put you into so the people could change 3 times till now. 2 times till now. 2, 3 times to now, maybe. Change skin color. Back and forth. Yeah, that's why we study science, because science is really undefeated, man. And we ain't sitting here arguing with y'all. Let's finish this off, though.
Ancient Greece to now. I mean, that's like...
Yes, it's remarkable.
But there is a caveat, she says.
We're talking about the rate of change during the earliest parts of human evolution, when we would not have had the nice togas or clothing that the man in Greece may have had.
Because once people put on clothes covering the skin, then the rate of change does slow down. So it's when we were naked and moving, that's when skin colors changed very quickly. But still, this means that this thing that we all notice when we think about race, skin color, it's not fixed at all. It is remarkably fluid.
We have now some fascinating genetic evidence of evolution acting on the skin, the intensity of natural selection. We think that process of change may have had to occur much more quickly.
Much more quickly.
much more quickly. Yeah, man, that's where we at, man. I hope y'all got y'all lesson in for the day, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, is that the best thing you gotta say, yo? And so this what we get. Some believe in this NPR book. That's crazy, yo. Like, y'all that wild? You that wild, bro? I'm gonna put you on the big screen. You's a wild guy, man. Shout out to the wild guy.
Yeah,
Melanated.
he's not the only one. If you read the chat, he's not the only one.
Nut. Oh man, she the one that gave you the reason for the melanin, yo. See the one that that's why we start off the show with the whole theory. So y'all couldn't be wild. Y'all wild for that, yo. Y'all wow. Blue Marvel, he a comic book hero. Melanated psyche. Stop it. You don't know what you talking about. Wild out. Shout out to the community skeptics, man. We in here, man. Man, shout out to everybody that came through, man. 9B, shout out to you. 504, shout out to you, man. Everything is everything. Shout out to you, man.
So let me
Yeah,
ask you this,
man.
right?
Huh?
Is a superhero and is melanated. So it's a melanin. It's a mel. It's a melanin.
Yo, got on it. Oh man, yo, you probably think we talking Chinese right now. They talking about yo, they made it up. Yo, you know the melanin, yo, is my force field, yo, it's the superhuman strength. It make me think quicker and better because we melanated. I cannot know it. But I know you sitting there saying, yo, these dudes is crazy. I know you sitting there saying that, yo. I know you is, bro. Mika One, organized chaos, man. A lot of stars was in here tonight, man. Let me see. I'm gonna finish reading this guy. Sad part is though, some of our people believe this. Hand on his face. Sad part is you didn't get vaccinated. I already know he didn't get vaccinated, yo. I already know. Yeah, yo, you running around superheroing right now. Yeah, I already know. Babylon done. Let's see what Babylon done got to say. Let's see if he says something. This is the stupidest stuff I ever heard. The sun will not turn people from white to light back. Boy, you're a pseudo Babylon done. Hit the link. No, I'm playing. You don't hit the link, dog. We ain't doing it tonight, yo. Wow. All right, let's see what show the guys say. Melanin is more than skin color. Well, what is it? Can somebody tell us what it is? What is melanin? Is melanin more than skin color or not? Now, not unless you're talking about neuromelanin. All human has that in their brain. That's just in the brain. Is that what you're talking about? No, that's different than the pigment. That's different. And yeah, I know you ain't talking about that because everybody got that. Everybody got melanin too.
Melanology.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
Pseudomelanin. Oh man, yo, wow, yo. That's funny, yo. Yeah, man, that's interesting, man. Look, man. Yeah, what was the signal? Look, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Hit the Cash App, man. Let me see. I think we got some Cash Apps. Let's see what we got here, man. Let's see what's going on, yo. Let's see. Let's see here. Man, I appreciate everybody that, supported, man. Byron, man, appreciate you, bro. Good looking out, man. Good looking out. Appreciate that, man. Mr. Morris, man, I appreciate that, bro. Good looking out, man. Allah, appreciate that, man. Good looking out, man. All right. Yeah, man. So I appreciate everybody that donated, right? You know how we do it, man. I appreciate the super tattoos y'all throwing at, man. All right. We're gonna make sure we set that feature up on the community of skeptics too, man. I just appreciate everybody, man. We had a lot of stars that came out tonight, man. And I appreciate everybody, man. And y'all know what it is, man. We doing what we supposed to do, man. We keeping it right, man. Yeah, we gotta keep it right and tight, man. All day, man. Hey, Juju, man. I feel you, man. I see you, man. And yeah, my man is wild though. Melanated psyche, yo, you wild, yo. Just 6 signs, man. Like you wouldn't even know about melanin without signs, yo. Superconductor, electromagnetic energy. What's the guy, yo, here in Atlanta, yo? He got the whole melanin thing going. Yeah, y'all reading that? Wow, that's wild work, yo. Man. All right, man. We're enough of this, man. We ain't doing all that, man. Hit that Cash App, man. Hit that store, that Abdu store, man. Support that, man. Got some orders going out today, too, man, for the record, man. Okay, man. We just trying to really figure this out, man. We had a good time, man. And y'all know we did, man. We definitely appreciate everything, because it was a lot of stars in here tonight, man. A lot of people in the building, man. Hey, we never got. We had to figure out on our own, yo, the whole Diop thing, what he do, what he didn't do, what he did do. Now we figured it out. Now we know exactly what it was that they went with and exactly what they threw out at the scientific conference. Let nobody trick y'all no more, man. We went straight to the information, man. That's what we do, man. Shout out to the community of skeptics, man.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing, like Sonic. God damn, this. Every time I hear this song from Smash, I'm like, yo, he gotta get back into his music back. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, he gotta get back. This is it, man. He still make music.
Yeah, I know he do, but he not, he not focused on it no more. Like,
yeah, this song seemed like he was focused, don't it?
Yeah.
Focus. Hey, man, Black News 102, man, bring you high-level content over here, man. Y'all know what it is. You're going to have to petition against our editor to stop the source up and shut up. He knows damn well ain't his saying. He stole it. Starnetta, you took that, and I told you. Pseudo Killers official, man. Y'all know what it is, man. We doing our thing, yo. Shout out to Smash Rockwell's, man. I'm a Raw Squad up. Man, we about to put that video out of the interview we had, pieces of it, man. Appreciate all the support, man. Remember, if you ain't support me with that, I ain't supporting you. You know what it is, you know how we do. Yeah, we mess with whoever mess with you, man. Shout out to all the people that's really trying to get the real information, man. Hey, Google Scholar, man, appreciate you coming through, bro. All day, every day, man.
By the way, I see your boy Cube outside
What happened?
I see your boy outside the Cube going in on you. Something about some evolution. I didn't really listen.
Man, we don't listen to him. Yeah, I don't listen to him. He trying to get views, man. Pay no attention to that man, yo. That man just stopped being a Hebrew last month, yo. Yeah, last week he just stopped all of a sudden. Yeah, he can't figure out a way to get in. Practice love, not hate, man. Peace, man.
Tomorrow Juneteenth. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh yeah, man. Party.